music coming from Joe Metal. He says, "You are my everything. You are all that I look forward to. You are the one who makes me who I am, and you are my everything." Beautiful song to start your morning with. Live on Happy 98.9 FM. Beautiful Monday. 6th of the month of January 2020. It's a blessed Monday morning, a brand new day, and a brand new month, and a brand new year. Senyor Nyankopo Aduma kaminu meni yeti hefa. Adum murusu nti ne yeti ase na anope. Enti de betimi aka ne se ayewo nkuto. Ayewo adum. Ya yense yemfata. Wadum nti. Hwese ne yeti nkwamo ye gu ahome. Se Nyankopo nimu a enye yie. Se Nyankopo nsansu nimu a enye yie. And don't think you're some righteous individual. We entered 2020, and some people who entered with us are no longer alive this morning. And it's on your miado mutin komua. Niabet miakane say. Woni mi bomu nya kachi onyankopon se woni yade nyina. Welcome. This is the Happy Morning Show, live on Happy 98.9 FM. We have 26 more minutes before we hit the top of the hour 6. I am a Niji sound of pay me more kwaba ebe jumedi so. Meaning so onyankopo adum by the time I be free hanum see yakonom. Ni I inspire you, ni I encourage you, ni I inform you, ni I educate you. It's about the national agenda. Send your man Ghana betumpo or my Ghana be kesiye afan into my prefra. So man ebekoya ejina wo so se ebekoya ejina me so ebekoya ejina ye nyina yen so. That responsibility is on your shoulder as much as it is on mine as well. And to call abontina catcher who say who kwaye and no ma edi impunto bebo my imo. But as you please, I'll do a feeding out to Happy 98.9 FM. Minute my big for and now the pay more but quickly, my running you through your program outline for this morning. Production support coming from Mr. Akroma, Mr. Isaac Kweku Poge, and the digital team and the PR team who are supporting us this morning to bring you the show this morning. My colleagues are here in the studio with me. Mr. Raymond Nyamador is in the studio with me, and beautiful Fati Shaibu-Ali mention and pay. My mention womo and sana quickly me the program outline no Abreu and pay. Ray, good morning.
Good morning. Big Sam.
Now, I know what to say.
Now, I don't baby aboko.
Shall I pay the only easy?
Say lazy me. First road, I say baby daddy.
Fati, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, at the sound of pay. Nah, it's you see anymore. Cruise no more parties.
A friend is a Hamatano. I also stay hydrated.
But hydration and more shika crab.
I'm saying Omugusu.
Our pipeline, it's in the pipeline.
Our pipeline, say, Uber starts a pipeline.
Some of them say archives or a pipeline man into your pipeline.
I can't buy fish up a million. Anyway, so quickly, let me take us through the program outline for this morning. Now, I feel a minute, Yemfa, Jimedianum, Yemfa, and she just so quickly, meaning, say, Brina, pay, maybe someone who a lot of questions to say, about saying that, and never for any year to Happy FM, and opportunity to say, Nanka, and net a Yanopobosu, Nankamuti, Nanka, one of the Agopamason and Sem Nashi. So, happy, yes, new times for Happy FM and society bebre and abemo ye koso ni nyina abeda adi amamo na ye pa achie say ye de no pa na de bro. It's about you if I wo if I mention me home senia enoma ede okoma pono so no ubenya akwanya ama Ghana fo nyina ate enenti ne ye de sa nsesamu we nyina no ye de bro and now pay by 5:30 and ye share dwumadi no as between now akopem 5:50 ye de headlines of the newspapers no bro no me the devotional message bro me some health tidbits and super bro me the road safety issues so tidbits bro senia wonam kwa so a wo behwe wo so yie won kwa ho hia won kwa ho hia me enti bo Bomodia said one am question as a wood tin on a prayer and then the road safety tips ever the devotional messaging so ever 5:50 send them can kind not at the headlines of the newspapers na by 6:20 na ye na afei no de afei ne be shase ye beba mu nyina akwa ba bio mo am join after 6 no na afei ene ema mu nyina akwa ba birthday dedications yen sabeka ne nyina de ne nyina ebebra mo that will be around 6:20 to 6:30 ne abomo nyompa kakra wa bra wote oka mu a wote a nyompa ebo no na wo suti kakra na wo da nyankopɔ ase na ehu ahia yen pa by 6:30 ne de omanu mu te sen ebra wo eno no ye beko Ghana hanum nyina eastern western southern central savannah oti babia ye beko honum nyina nia ekoso ewo saa mpotomu ni mu nyina no ye de nyina abro enano pay live on Happy 98.9 FM. Producer Amamenti say anapai yebeko Savannah region ni akwa kohede ekoso ewo Savannah region hodum. Within that time no so yebema wakwanya ama wonso wafre abadwumedie ne so edien ana ekoso ewo potamu a wowo anapai wabra wotie no yebema wakwanya ama wonso wafre no abadwumedie ne so na so wakania ekoso wo area and our community na wonso odi abre and anapai that will be between 6:30 to 6:45 na 6:45 na abrantie fine man abrantie ono osi no man wo pipelines mu no na or the sports updates so abre Raymond at the sports updates ebebre na afede ya to dwumadi ne so by 7 there na ya shase ya de komotwehwe no ashase ya ye de nyina ebro na there's a lot on our table ye bedi ehon komo minim say anomane bibo won ma esi ewo 2019 ya edi yachi edi yewura 2020 mo so follow issues na ekoso abon electoral commission hon sensem about 2019 womo yo madwene say okay womo the new voters registration exercise by new voters register for 2020 elections and no ana political parties ni bi say womo entiase ni nyina ye bedi ehon komo ene anopai ewo dwumadi ne so ye be momodia so ne yedi nkomo afa enoma ba ku mienu miensa ho ambulance hon sensem so abetodwa ene nsempia anopai ye bedi ni nyina ho nkomo ewo dwumadi nsu nti be momodia ne ni nyina abramo ene anopai ye the trending issues ebebro between 7:50 and 8 o'clock Fati and they sa dwumadi ne ebebre na fa between 8 and 9 yebema akwanya amwa sending a voice note o de sending ya nia ewo akoma so pese Ghana phone nyina etenom na wa sending sa voice note no it should be less than 1 minute na o send voice note na make sure say wudin and be bia wo send voice note na free no wudin nyina ebeka ho na o de abrɛn now the beauty about the new programming format I running live this morning on Happy 98.9 and they say you see morning shows one kan hanum nyina and Ghana ha nyina no a production team no and ma betina say e decide say ene yebeka elections ho asem ene yebeka Ghana sika ho asem ene yebeka Ghana a car ye de ho asem nanso so Happy FM is bringing you something unique the idea brown is say wo wotie me wo hwem wo Facebook and now no pay no ye ma wo akwanya amoba ye part of our production team enti ye di nkomo ya e bia wo tie ye nka no pay na wo hwe ye nanka unya ya asem bi akoso wo area enka unya ya nka beka ho asem wo be send ye message abaye console so na ya forward sem no enti nyame pa ochina ye betina hanom say ya wasem na wo de bre no eno ana ye ne umienu ye betina se ya discuss e wo show we so we unya bi obia except on Happy 98.9 FM. And to say any adwumadie no ebeko yebebo modia so say enne anopai no text messages and nyina ba beka yesanom yede ni nyina ebebro but anopai there was something unique in so I dey bro anopai you see afefofo mu bebre na bronya no mokwaji monika klasika sem na yesom way moji monia masika sem na yesom way bebre na so na my resolutions for the year 2020 yenyina ye 31st ni akogina so dem ni abompa ye Erade mesumu ye Erade misika sem behwe so ye Erade meyese by the time even the first month will be done with them not resolutions na pascal but ana yebenya opanyini kofi ajay amana be kan yensa no ne yedin komo as to how yebetimi sustaining the various resolutions ye make 31st December no sir 2020 yebedi ni nyina so membo akwaba eba dwumedi so live on Happy 98.9 FM. And there's music coming from Joe Metal this morning. Also, you jump kuteni about to your dash in your kupone munyam. It's all about praises, it's all about adoration. Ye yin yang kupoya. Me pacho and rashi and free a fierce wokwajumo. And you yang kupon din sa waswas and wako. Have your quiet time, it's very important. 5 minutes before your God. We need command stand over fia kwajumo. The catch yourself, we safety who hear me. My uncle Manasu Sambia, any ACP retired Victor Tando ending come about how 2020. I was see a boy who buying. So what driving as a team on a player, a babuao. So who commercial car as a driver and a one driver, send you on a communicating a babuao. So uchi motorbike, a babuao. So who you being so one for my babuao. It is very important. It's any ACP Victor Tando ending and come on a pay. ACP, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
And I pay you know, Yankopod who here.
Yaminti, Memo Shapadi.
Yes, yeah, Fimu dear. Yenim say yet it in SMP road accidents in the Monoma, your bomb pie, CBBA, NC. But send your young Cassie a bit take safety in our own hands. See you drive it, see you ride it, see you nam Kwanwa, and you're very important. And I pay, and then I would mind.
You made what it. And then a day it can get to say my days of you. I am yes. So my and feeling pin a duno, any dunko. I bet in quite some dream. Now, Odiura and fear Duno, Edun 2020. It's my former happy FM. I'm moving out in Japan. I hope for all. I buy any other phone, except for young come home. Which is Shramon. More in that, no feeling to my fight between me up for near mine and yan to my petra. A tip of Mutik Mediana, a Mamunatio, Amunati, and Marcha Dishi. At Mobile Media Kitchen, so happy as the 98.9. And lady in Sacrayabum, you will write some Eshun on a Otiagum. And I'm getting for Mutino. Omina to Tanachi, Ebuano, and make media cost 10 seconds effort. The Amias is what Mamma Pakin and Swahodin. Indian Papa. By Yatum, them Semo, never happens if all the mom. 19 one of them. By His grace, we are alive. Not to Malacqua. And none of them, both driver force Abasu. A bad driver for Abasu. We quit to click a quick truck. We quit commercial, quit private. And then motor any enough to say me, I did a lot of them. And mommy and boy, something to make it's okay and fear and don't keep them we are. How did you 2019? No, that's a national road 64 road authority. And she showed me the 2 quarters. The chair already so cheap so. So class a lot of things that community coming in as well. It's an okay 20. Who are consumed. Order to two and payment you know to watch 18 months. As a 29 so shine. Yes, to shine there. Let us see. Boy, about a boy. Yeah, Rubber for a moment. On Coswara, on Yaki. Yes, he said, Monk, Papa, Mamma Casamo. Monk, Mamma, Gillet Mumba, Japonia Dopo. Chilenua, and so in the winning that to the car. Sound the same can between. Put to the 8 Maquamoa. Maiden, my boy. You can get the yard. At say, Mommy and Channel and to develop for Mommy Channel. Who's Hashem one? Who's a shame me somewhere yet? I hear a couple. I have the person somewhere, yeah, yeah, for what's it? Oh, Quana down. And finally, get the whole together. A 2 boy. The next will be my conscience again. We black the bullet. You can't break your brain money. 26 and 26. Sabrina and Kunjapo and Kawasa. And yet, there were phone calls at the idea. Radio stations, TV stations, as a moment, fine. Yet, they say, far more confidence. Me and I'm also move more from the we are moved from the papa. Then, and Cosara and Camunan. Then, you know, I'm lot of it's a lot of things. It will be at the pan, it will be a yard, it will be. It's a lot of comedy. I can't get the car not to. Then you be signed here. You be shallow, you be trouble, grammar, you be trouble, grammar. You know, and what maybe for the break the wall. If I definition me, aha, then for her. Me free, a corner so I call me more. Dear Pelican light to walk. I can get on the guy, green bemoir, in the paco, red the bar, and you pick it up. You pack it a bit. Red or green or made a market mitrum, and moi. The petition crossing walk, who grew away in a camera. Grandma, what them? And you take it in cup. When you know, you play the hoop. You move the best. And yet, yeah, he's a boy. Messages appear you from you claim on women job. How be a female? Any here, this should be a free more quick. Any question. This should be a did them. Mommy and should be them. As you can see, the captain. Now, I feel called a bit. I wish I bought. And I we can see Nora.
All right.
They say, oh, the hot year. Let us say, I'm not coming in.
All right.
Me and she win in there. So, hello.
SCP. And I pay your bed. Hello, SCP.
Your marriage don't for just on king of PNC. When you for hand bonum so be they do not do a purpose of for track.
Yedasipi ACP retired Victor Tando or the road safety akwansudia normal was here no or the Eddie Abre and pay live on Happy 98.9 FM. Aka baye 11 minutes now. About 6 o'clock in 2 minutes. Not yet the headlines of the newspapers. No, bro, quickly, my mini check devotional message be and sana yatwaso. And I mini check be every the book of Genesis, chapter number 1, verse number 2. Quick devotional. What you say? And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, this devotion, I'm sharing it with you because it's in the first book, I'll be Bible in the moon. Your first month, our 2020. Now, okay, or say, now a riasi a sum. But there's a very important point the Bible makes in there. Or say, whilst the darkness no oni nyina esum ne oni nyina na ayese bibia aye basa ayese bibia ase ayese bibia enkoso bibia entumpon no. The Bible is explicit say, and the Spirit of God was moving upon the waters. Now, onyankopon no, enam insunani even in the midst of the darkness no, na onyankopon hom na ewo ho. And the na make catch you. They make catch one say, sometimes wa babomo no. And no mutimi yedin. Sometimes wa babomo no, utimi say akawon kwa. Sometimes wa babomo no, utimi say enoma aye basa, bisi basa. Sometimes you feel say onyankopon kwampo no. But I may catch you say, no matter the condition and the situation you are in this morning, the Spirit of God has never left you. Now He is taking you through a process. At the end of the day, or say, Obeka say, let there be light. But until say, when you Obeka say, let there be light, you know. Oh, I'm telling you this morning, so if you want to say, I will call with you, will come baby, I will call piano. Onyankopo kaho, no matter how bad it is, what you must sem, what worry sem, what must sem, will be piano, onyamekaho. Be rest assured, say, in the long run, He will declare, let there be light. It's now time for us to bring you the headlines of the newspapers. Fati Shaibu-Ali, Samson Raymond Nyamador, so Elmenchen, the headlines of the newspapers. No, Ebrewo Anopay. A year headlines of the newspapers, no, Ebrewo and Anopay, and I'm Deacon Kaino, many about Fati Shaibu and the Wahanum say, Samson Raymond Nyamador, and so Elmenchen and Anopay. Raymond, Aquababium, Fati, Aquababium.
Me that's
Raymond, I mean, if I want to say na papers that won't win no for my other page.
now make it a Daily Statesman and a Ghanaian Times anopawi.
Okay.
Now, Daily Statesman leads with the front page story. Or say, let's take money out of politics. John Mahama, Nekas Asemno.
Okay.
And also on the front page of the Daily Statesman, you have BNI and National Security chase corrupt NIA officials. And also on the front page, you have election 2020 should not break us, says Methodist Supremo. And it comes with a picture of the Most Reverend Paul Kwabena Boafo, presiding bishop of the Methodist Church of Ghana. And Okase, election 2020 should not break us.
Daily Graphic and pay the front page. Professor Jampo, the picture at the Nimu Nadiomo can say Jampo Butako exonerated but face disciplinary committee. And I sama at that Daily Graphic and him and pay. Osha Nimu Honmabu say Asante Hinin so funny at that Daily Graphic and him and pay. Or say Asante Hinin receives Pillar of Peace Award. Bank of Ghana authorizes issuance of commemorative coins to celebrate him. Asante Himfuni and Uhu Ewo Animonom na Womo Amano Award Pillar of Peace na Bank of Ghana so authorizes Omo Emma coin na Obuhu say Asante Hini ne Infuni Daswo. Ahead of Constitution Day, Nyamepo China engage schools, communities, experts, advocates. Nyamepo China a year Constitution Day. Na a year expert be and all case ye ne a school for entering como enfa Constitution Day and home fast one and a communities in so ye more modern say ye new between como afa nyame porchina Constitution Day no that's in front of the Daily Graphic newspaper.
They find that newspaper and Wahano pay front page say NIA 5.9 million Ghanaians registered, 51 million cards printed, 3.3 million issued as at the end of 2019. It was also almost a halt commissioning of new ambulance service to government.
Ghanaian Times LED with the front page story. Let's combat corruption together. It comes with a picture of the Vice President Baumia. Or say, let's combat corruption together. And also, Osha same front page now. Office of the Special Prosecutor. I say, Obe criminalize unexplained wealth. And also, yeah, front page story. And also, front page story back here. Fire guards bust Bupe Depot. 3,600 liters of petrol lost. And it comes with picture of burnt trucks at the depot. Also, in pursuit of quality education, not to launch manifestos. That story, page 15 of the Ghanaian Times. And also, your businessman remanded for attempting to export currency. And also, a story be a businessman trying to conceal 130,220 United States dollars in his luggage while traveling from Ghana to China. And also, and in African news on the front page, more than a dozen killed in Burkina Faso bus attack.
The Economic Times newspaper, Oshe Enim Enanopoya, Ubuhu say, Oma actually say, banks make more profit. Story in the Economic Times paper no and Enim. Let's say a banking sector, banks are a woman monobebre and a woman year profit after 2019. Fuel prices to be increased in January pricing window. Industry analyst. Industry analyst be and a work actually say petrol, diesel, and petroleum products in the prices no so January and na yembo boy ho petrol prices into the cost one so him say they first and so so first ne cost pe na say normal bonus so and also be cost na ya crowd one na say a cost you betimi agina no. Private sector attracts higher credit. We share Kratan anymore and also a war and Nimu and Anna pay. Ubunse Dr. Yao Edujenfi and Foni Edda and Nimu. But I don't know how the Economic Times published a story on banks making profit normally. Haruna Idrisu, minority leader, but normally the MD for I think Stambik, in the picture moment and normally at 200. Well, printers devil sometimes I son of my friend. You heard about see.
Well, Daily Guide and pay or say 200,000 bends in explosion talking about sapphire na esi wo boss will be pay no and Tiwa leaves CID Mahama leaves attack on EC and a confusion over men's gold cash men's gold cash men's gold for say omwetu e bi mo investigation such as say into how be into no and also a story koso e wo mai mo and a woman shot dead in Kumasi hotel and no and what daily guide anyone pay.
Now, Oko page 4 of the Daily Statesman, or say prophecies won't give Akufo-Addo second term, says Sami Awuku. And the national organizer of the NPP, Sami Awuku, said party supporters no more complacent. Now, say prophecies no motivate you or work hard towards retaining power in 2020. And also, there was story be a Newmont Gold Cup to rehabilitate Achim Roads, and also a story a Daily Statesman. Now, Oko business side of Daily Statesman now, also government targets 3 billion annually through African Sankofa account, and it comes with a picture of the finance minister, Honorable Ken Oforiatta, and also on be the aspirant savings and investment account to attract more African American into the country to invest in various sectors. And it also comes with a story here, SNIT to pay 343 million Ghana cedis in pensions in 2020. And also a story about business side of the Daily Statesman. Now, Oba, other stories. So, Scholarship Secretariat to go digital by March 2020. And also a story about Daily Statesman center pages. No.
Yambo modena yanko online tabloids ni yanshe di almost so underpay womo airport na iria na yape embre na 1 or 2 stories bia emse fati o kan bibia na minyaya nka make a comment or two about that issue na mame quickly yanko online tabloids ni hedi almost so airport underpay oko happyghana.com happy fm your website there's a very interesting story there. I would say prayer is the only solution to a peaceful election. Reverend David Ando and Oka Sasem. Very interesting story. Happyghana.com, your website. Oko myjoyonline.com. Honestly, there's a very beautiful picture of, should I say, ex Black Stars coach. Our pigeon is at minim say oh yeah baba and I said or say thank you Ghana. Kwesi Appiah says in parting statement that on the front on the website of myjoyonline.com city newsroom and so were very interesting stories as well. We followed standard procedures before releasing new CD notes. Bank of Ghana to former President John Dramani Mahama. Nina a year city newsroom for no one more website. Let me quickly come to Fati. Fati.
Me share Google News.
Okay.
Google News. It's
Okay.
Ghana Google News. A chunk of public servants illegally occupying their positions, where according to audit service, and also say no serious country will learn from fraud perpetrating lawless Bank of Ghana from Isaac Adongo Oye MP. And also say it ended in tears as man buys iPhone 11 for 268 Ghana cedis.
iPhone 11 for
268 Ghana cedis and Kanu 2.6.
Now only iPhone boy now iPhone 6 kwabenya boy saying and did you feel there
in teachers a story and they say iPhone 11 is a new type of phone released by Apple company a few months ago, but the aggrieved man bought his at a low cost thinking it was promotional price. Well, he bought a phone no roadside into your sister also phone ni pay. Now phone I say welcome. Now I say bye bye. Now phone need do. Or so I welcome. Now can bye bye. Now phone need do. Say na phone no and iPhone 11. But what's your phone now? It's in where you come rest me and sending in our boho. BBA fine. Just say welcome and bye bye. Nana. A problem. That's a phone no more on the basis say.
Nobody. I said about 5,000 Ghana.
Hey, now what could you? Hey, 1,000. Every cry depends on the gig.
Wow.
Every cry
Wow.
10,000
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Oh, called on the promotional.
Wow.
Like a new year, you will iPhone 11.
Now, Oko Peace FM online, political stories be our hot say criticize Akufo-Addo like Mahama, NDC chairman charges journalists. Now, also journalists here, criticize President Akufo-Addo to say no criticize President Mahama. A story I will Peace FM online, and also your Vice President explains the logic behind free SHS double track system. And also a story I'll call Peace FM online will be home and fix the double track conundrum a Blackwa to government, and that's Honorable Okjeto Ablakwa. I'll say fix a double track conundrum no and. Prophecy ba Kubiswaba, warrior prophet Paul Kusi appear or say NPP will break the 8-year term cycle. And also a story about Peace FM online.
Na me ti ha into obi ehun mi obehye nkoma fa me ho ana. Me ti obi ehun mi obehye nkoma fa me ho ana.
Prophet, met me ashe wonkom.
Da bi wo prophecy ni je nka.
Oh.
Enka.
Mentina pulpit nso Indiana.
Da bi. Nya ne sa but okay, mama prophecy ba ko.
Ode wonkom bra.
Anyway, I think there was a story that either Fati or Raymond read. I felt we could give it just a little bit of attention and the we say, Fati, I think someone read the story, no? What was the story? But your own paper, and quickly, it was the other one. Yeah, I think yes, it's the Finder newspaper. Now, KBB said NIA see or more. I registered 5.9 million Ghanaians. 5.1 million cards printed, 3.3 million issued as at the end of 2019. And I found it interesting. So, I mean, the NIAC will more register 5.9 million Ghanaians. I will issue 5.1 million Ghanaians with the cards. I can't remember. So, almost started some registration exercise for Adenta. There were a lot of issues and concerns that people raised, especially Omo register ya nan komo hwe ni mu se animonimu na omo sabeka card no na omo so edi aye guarantors edi ama others no na omo ensan ka omo cards no omo di aye guarantors for others no. It was a major concern. Ama at the end of the day no omo ka so ma set up some centers will be able to me akọ na wakwaje the card edi free. But it's exciting news to hear say the NIA is saying say omo are registered 5.9 million people one more issue 5.1 million. But there's something that draw my attention to this. Because you see, one of the key requirements are now NIA for say you should have a digital address. You should have a digital address. And I have always raised that concern, sir. So almost you use digital address near for register. Ghana Post for assure Ghana for say one more the digital addresses normally but fee anymore. There are a few places that I've seen. There are so many places I mean who digital address but who check Ghana Post for application on the Google Play Store. You'd realize says I have 5.9 million now and I phone can no application now. I yet the basis how the back so they are register no Andrew. So where are the digital addresses normally register 5.9 million no? Where are they coming from? What am I can say? You see, the reason why it is important to raise some of these issues, no, and they say this is the database. I did and no be brave woman and muhanum say. You for say easy for no company or say one more issue new register now. Definitely, this is a credible database on which they use as basis, a foundation. Woman register.
If they are able to prove their addresses, then it will be credible. Now we can't
well, but you see, there are legitimate concerns. And what's he raising? And this will be Greater Accra, some of you Greater Accra region.
Yes.
There are a couple of people I have spoken to a Womo and Sanka Womo Cats. I don't know about other people. And to remember modern see and Mr. Palmdetti in the course of our program now, Womo Abeche how far. With the registration exercise. Any challenges? Some more Ashanti regions here. Now, my updates about what is happening with their registration exercise. Ray, what we are now?
Yes, Daily Statesman, LED with the story of former President John Dramani Mahama and flag bearer of NDC. Or say elections shouldn't be about money. Mahama tells cadres. And story they say it may come as a surprise to Daily Statesman readers, but former President John Dramani Mahama, the 2020 presidential candidate of the NDC, has been expressing concern about the growing role of money in Ghanaian politics. Mr. Mahama says the increasing loss of faith in Ghana's democracy is as a result of the monetization of politics. According to the former president, who is noted for using money to influence the outcome of elections, the increasing importance of large amounts of money in country's politics constitutes a looming danger to the democracy and can pose a danger to citizens. Former President raised these concerns at the 38th anniversary of the 31st December Revolution in Winneba last week. The theme of the anniversary was monetization of elections in Ghana, a threat to national development and genuine democracy. And this is a story, the Daily Statesman, and former President Mahama, I say, Sika yede share elections mo. Sika yede according to say cash for votes. I say yama democracy no. Nkofon sheda NTSA. I think it's weakening the democracy of the country, and it poses huge danger because if going into elections, people are not going to vote on issues. People are not going to vote based on sitting. People are not going to vote based on developmental projects and infrastructure, and it has to be the highest bidder. And now, Obia or what deep pocket or better influence votes. Now, I think that and I think that former President Mahama speaking like this, I think that introspection. I realize they say the time when now Omoko campaign, now Mahama paper was the theme of the campaign. I think that they want to move away from that particular theme, and now focus on putting out a message that would appeal to most Ghanaians and that would actually enhance the democracy. I think that it's a very good call. For now, we can put the messenger aside and soak the message. Taking message, Now, for most of us who believe in taking money before voting for whoever, I think that it's a good message to us. And for now, sound like the messenger and deal with the message.
But how did we get here? And then the question I was here beside saying any bedroom pepper so as see and so am is coming to Abama.
Say over the years, you say you say to about for development, to about economy na ko ye na ye ni aje o mine tumpon. But we realize say e be a party ni could do power members, and I say even members no crown the top members omu benefited obi benye juma ebi mu benya contract nya de na afi ye na ye koto abano ye nishi nti obi feel say okay say 20 cities na menya na me de akostart pure water business we win na we mfi me kra ene me ye me business into me menya bibi kakra. But the problem ni say obi jisika na oje ya we di ewie afi wote ho nipa okoto abama no because o ma uskan so a edwuma no so a wanye nti no politicians na start is and as say aba be albatross ase omukon ho na afi na oba be ka che say okay ye njai. Meanwhile, the notion is that ebe continue sir ebi mu ejiska ebi mu so jipuduo obi okra ye diska no suma ne say wona kona koche say scan ye 1 million and nipa na be 600,000 share boto. Nti I it will take a lot for this to stop, and I say for us to curtail it. Maybe we can begin by minimizing, the influence of money in politics. But say you die abruptly, so I doubt say it means.
But not Raymond, who make a point to be say, a man for back or this kind of mark or two about mobi. I think that say I was say no because there have been instances of politicians that could check thousands of cities in the long run they lost elections. Yes. And yes, Ghana for Yajnimundaho. Now our conscience can easily be bought with money. No. But a quack be say yen Jimmy yenti fesikanebra yebeji. But say you bet 1 more yenim say ubedia dia yen yafim fimudie. Yebeji usikana, but yen toma. It is not that we are not discerning. We are.
Absolutely. I think, sir, to a large extent, we have seen that happen. We have seen, MPs even go to the extent of purchasing taxi cabs for constituents just with the aim, say, and we've seen them disappointed. We've seen, presidential candidates, just say, there are a lot of goodies they distribute and still end up losing. I think that Ghanaians, to a large extent, we are knowledgeable, we are discerning. The voters are very discerning. But problem, they say, that act itself, it shouldn't be entertained. It's that act of even giving out something, expecting a return, it's something that we should be speaking against. Whether it's money, whether it's in items, valuables, I think that we have to speak against them because what is happening is that democracy now you're enjoying, or the democracy we want to put out there, it has to be issue-based democracy, development-based democracy, not trying to entice people in any way whatsoever, whether they are discerning or not. I think that a very good discussion. And former president,
Hydra-headed
former
discussion.
former
It's also an issue of culture. Ghanaians pay free things. It's also a culture issue. Say I didn't hear free nkwande magic. Obi wa onam what? Oh yeah, cheska onim. Why yeah cheska ne obekwa akojibi.
Why mo never born who the rules are you in Jai? Wabra mu media men Nankasan so most question mark said them because yet some more politicians and much on bottom.
It is true.
Some of the media men are in the pockets of the politicians.
Absolutely.
And why I never assassin races in Jai?
No, I think that coming from former president who has been a partaker of such things before, no, I think that it starts from the politicians. It has to start, we have to start truncating it from that point. If they realize that, look, I don't have to do this. I don't have to give out money for my message to be put out there. I don't have to see a journalist to actually propagate my message for me. I think my works should actually do the talking for me. I think all of this would start, ending at a certain point. And for me, I think that if nobody is receiving anything, Ghanaians will now be strictly focused on developmental issues. And for most of the people in the rural areas who are easily swayed by booters and cash and, your friend is saying lights, cutlass, I think once they start considering development, they'll start forgetting about the goodies they get during elections. And once it's coming from the political parties,
when they see the development,
absolutely.
Politician, it all falls at the doorstep of the politicians. You vote him out and make sure what he said you would do, you do. Otherwise, we just circle back.
Mami, my announcement here quickly. Now, Fati, I don't know if you have an issue you want to talk about. Now, Yembra back. There may be a phone line no in the next maybe 10 minutes. You call Savannah Honeba. It may be a phone lines. Now, baby, I want to what is happening in your area. You see, from 2020. I didn't know area. Me and Tunka and Anapay. Chonama with 0302. 254-856 0302 254-856 and our 0302 254-857. Now you be a phone lines need to my baby I will be an amiento na me sini pise and yet politics as some any yano pay and ya fin Albert Frabechi our party chairman and our party organizer and I say or party secretary Obana so shall say so what your party paying for you be you free. I must make you understand that, but you can send your comments coming through our your WhatsApp number 020 22 067 020 22 067. Timiento nka and ano pefati.
Anope me pe say a men's gold issue no won say you see afifu from ntino amanfo ehiska
cash levels low.
Men's gold enche e bia na ombeka say omube start etua amanfo sika momo omo PRO eba bonten be kan say nipa be 200 bi etua omuka nipa ba kope ena mehu say oma ede ne number ma media houses bet me from omo say your customer na we share line of interview dia metie na nipa na yebisa no questions be on share down to me ye anu ye and confirm me say am paninsa keskanti no doubt crab him say whether the person is even a customer of Men's Gold or not because minimum crofo musika wo Men's Gold omonte hwe.
Okay.
Customers ne so minim so mo WhatsApp group o me communicate ni ade obi afa information bi ambe two group ni mu say aha na monko gi scan no time way and I say that way enti sika no hwan mo na ye di sika no ama omo enti eno ye problem issue so ewo Ghana ha Men's Gold. I think say they are just trying to say things to either calm the waters or deceive Ghanaians to say they are committed to paying this money. Obi aye freeze will asset any bank accounts near there. Will lawyers scrap out our because they do not have the means to pay Sikano. And we need to ask questions as to if you have customers of over 4,000, now we are 200, 200 we can't confirm, we can't verify. Not just say me Men's Gold no. If I say some out now eventually Mombeka say everybody should forget the money and because you are playing with the emotions of people. Because of Sasike to come out to say you go start yaka. Meanwhile, who can say 27th then the next batch.
Yeah.
And they are sick. What's going on again?
But for some time now, man, who say a friend saying concerned, customers of Men's Go for some time now. I saw my kaka because they were all over the place in 2019, but suddenly no on tie and monka. But it's a germane issue now raising about Sikano Okwako found hey na betua. Yet so a co-winning case view Dubai Sikabi or some man on between a car near the day. Sasikano akusi sending sakana. Sending saka. And one who says Sikano, Nensaka, Enti, one more air baby chase can send you be a binyana dear. And I think, say, one more say, oh, if they don't have the capacity to pay out, one more D, and then just be talking with their people. But so be issue statements about the public domain. So around this time, you are beginning a new schedule to pay payment. Not time the rest of Nipan Bana, Untiana car, and some way. I know of a manner, as I speak to you now, on the bushia, be Piase. Need ejane hoko because all time ni sika onya no de investment wo honum one can't change you one can't change ba and assassin we ediato no. So how does such a person survive when you keep giving him false hope?
Exactly.
How?
Exactly. On one Kasasu came out some time ago say Ghanaians should help him to get
Exactly.
the money from Dubai or say
Well,
United
I think that to a certain extent, no, Nana Apia Mensah had a point because if he claims that he was doing business in Ghana, to the extent that criminal, deductions were made with regards to the legitimacy of his business, and because of that, the accounts were frozen, and the man is saying, "Look, I have money sitting in my account, but I don't have access to my account. We should help him." Put pressure on government to release the accounts to or not. I think that it's a fair suggestion he made, or it was a fair request he made. As to whether his accounts have been, unfrozen, we don't know. And so I think that some of these things we have to interrogate them. We have to visit some of these things because if the man has money sitting down, why don't you allow him to have his money? If he has money sitting in Dubai, and because of these, your friend is saying, frozen accounts in Yamanu Sikani to Mimba, I think that some of these matters have to be interrogated. That is, if they are true. And so I think that the Men's Gold issue, let's look at it from two sides.
If
But
he has
again,
money in his account, how much money
number
is
one,
there?
Kasano,
How many
I think that
customers he
a
has?
lot of Ghanaians had reached the point where they had accepted, say, Men's Gold, no, Omunyo Musika. But for him to be coming up with promises, I think that it is not sitting well with Ghanaians, and he should either shut up and just allow Ghanaians to accept that they've lost their money, or I think he should find ways of paying their money.
20 minutes after 6th of January 2020. You're welcome. This is Happy 98.9 FM. Yeah, caught short commercial break. Yeah, ba. Me who say text messages be about me who comments and so our Facebook. Me one more than my kind ba ko mienu miensa na afe yako Savannah region na yako ko head ye e koso e wo honum san potemu ho. Enti mo fidie no engusua enda ha. We'll be right back.
Obi a ye pentamako program. Did I don't mean say abofra unwe da. Ade akwa na wo kire yi.
Abofra ne diapers no. Me de tari ya na why. Me de ma yesa afi krampo de ma bre.
Wo so agendo do. Maka kire say the Chris baby diapers. Eno na fa abofra no abri bia. The Chris baby diapers. Wo de tari ya na che abofra no gu nso a. Eno no me kama. E ma ne tonfo e na nkampese. Enso nso agu ne ton. Yesa so the Chris baby panta. Eno nso yama mofra.
Makayo, se wo ka kire me say me bu me nsampo a. Me use Chris Bill sanitary pad. Na me use ye no nso no. E ma me wo risi. Asama ma hotoso enti me bani pa mu kra me nsuro esan say me won say da. Obaby a use Chris Bill sanitary pad. Yes also wo Esther baby diapers. E yema mofra e na de Chris sanitary napkin.
Yeah, the favorite diapers aba. Can be here be. Product when you know a Chris Bill group of companies and a dear bar. We actually quite our enquiry. Your Justice Bobe Avenue, 2nd Street, Yabema 7-pack, New Achimota, Kumasen so your Adum A Light train was 0244 035 334 and 0501 530654. Happy times are here. Starting from the 6th of January, Happy 98.9 FM is bringing you exciting programming as part of its rebranding at the following times every weekday. Check out the all-new Happy Morning Show from 5:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Happy Sports will come your way from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The award-winning social religious program in Assembly will start from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Your most authoritative political show, Epa Wadabain, comes your way from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. The all-new exciting sports start and highlights show, Wampuju Sports, starts from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. The award-winning Ayiko Drive with DT Advisor comes your way from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. This new season promises you nothing but the best. Make a date with us. Happy FM, ANDJ
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along.
Why do you drink Awake Purified Drinking Water? Hydrated and approved by the FDA.
Ghana money! A mass wedding ambassador na make us say. Afiwe, promise that one say, Utia 500 city before former Happy FM and more year wedding gun. No one can say what you see top and down. The worst you see for the wedding yaka, wedding invitational manko for yaka, wedding cake yanka. Kai say, folks near 500 Ghana city pair. Honeymoon yanka. We tell them yanka. Sounds soon after best couple. You found your mako to buy. Package when you na. And mass wedding 2020 from now to 17th of January.
And the former President John Dramani Mahama. Obedi may you so rest in perfect peace. Maybe Obia, as you know, former Chief of Staff. Chechia software, Mechia teacher for, a doctor for, nurses engineer, traders, more Moko Jaso, Akodija, soldiers, IGP, Unu policy for Mua Jumaya. Elections 2020, Munaboya Hobay. Yachamina, market women, Yachamina. Asidasron Kunsu and Command Mr. Enes Boateng and Mr. Edwin Amankwa Global Media Alliance Ejuma Efunyina Yachacha Winina Yankoya Juma Demo Mangala Mamen come Facebook and Humanus na make comments and a public guso Who's a million Manasa Kwafo Abekan and Son of Manasa Kwaba Enough Opokwaji says good morning boss. I wish you all the best in your new endeavor. Happy FM. Pastor Thomas Kofi Asamoah says, great morning. I'm happy you are excited. My own brother and friend, Senior Sonny Rocky. Morning through the show this morning says, keep firing. Good morning from Abigail Dankwa. She says, good morning. Ebenezer says, Samuel, welcome to Happy FM. Some of us, we believe in neutrality, and you're going to get that. Dixon Watson says, Bossman, I'm watching you live from Talented Royal. It's good to have you with me this morning, sir. Manasseh Kwafo says, we'll wait up on you. On the Ghana card, I think the discrepancy between the number of downloads of the Ghana Post GPS app and the number of registered could be attributed to a number of people living in the same house, hence the sharing of one address. We'll interrogate that issue when we move on. But I'm grateful for your submission this morning. Richie says, good morning. I want to tell the road safety authorities to do more education on the road. Last year, a lot of accidents happened around the same time. Thank you for the information. Charles Nyami Asamarka says, welcome on board Summit Ghana Fest. Emmanuel Awule says, Specifically, I am watching live from Kisseman. Ex-President Mama is talking about cash out politics. The question is, which corporate... Okay, your text message. Could you kindly rephrase and send it to me? Ochiman Chiami DC says, good morning, Sami. Welcome to Happy 98.9. I do say your boy Evan says, good morning. Gifty Boating Ajanim says, good morning. Gifty, it's good to have you on the show this morning. I'm excited you're here with me. That brings us to 29 minutes before we hit the top of the hour 7. Happy 98.9 FM. No Asugusua, Woodsienum. And I pay me church and me bo, me see you, Dean. And pay Mr. Anes Boating. You see, Afifufumo na and Sisana Abemono. Meaning, say, Bebrina, and I'm be some a lot of questions. But me see you, Mr. Anes Boating has a message for all of you who are tuning into the show this morning. Take a listen to it.
Yeah, friend, Anes Boating, me Group CEO of Global Media Alliance and Global Media Alliance Broadcast Company. Global Media Alliance Broadcast Company. And the owners of Happy FM. 2020 expectations. As we go into the new year, we want to build the brand to be more competitive. We'll be introducing new programs like the Happy Morning Show. We believe that this show will really shake the industry in terms of bringing more information, keeping our listeners very well informed and entertained. As we go into the new year again, the other things I see, and so say, he be building on existing programs. Listeners, I enjoy like Epahua Dabeng and Happy on Wheels, as well as sports and entertainment and religious programs. It was making sure say Nina no for any ajeho no more over and over and over. We want to make Happy FM the #1 brand in terms of radio in Accra as well as across the nation. And you know, for all the patronage and comments and tia omatie and Taumatai station nechi edomasi bebre, and we are hoping say in 2020 they will continue to support us. But afinshiapa to all our listeners. So we wish you more Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. May all their dreams and aspirations come true for 2020. Na nyamesoso entire chi as we go into an election year. Yebe ema asumdwe aboy ho ban na yedi nyame ni asumdwe to make sure say yenya basabasa politics, but at the end of the day we are yesatun sadidi as enuanom enti epese yenya basabasa bia na make sure say by December next year we'll be having this message again entering into 2021 and we will all be happy. Yeah, Fremi and Boating, may Group CEO of Global Media Alliance and Global Media Alliance Broadcast.
98.9 Happy FM.
25 minutes to 7. Afina de ofidi na to ayama kwaba eba Happy 98.9 FM maiden edition of the Happy Morning Show. And na utie and na no pay mini Fati Shaibu, Raymond Nyamador, and na yatji edja and na no pay yedi Happy Morning Show ne me producers are one more and a pay one more time chia me di jumedi ebro and ne anopay solid team behind me and anopay executive producer Mr. Emmanuel Akroma, popularly known as Archives, Isaac Kokupoge, Joseph Niankra, Joel Sanko, Bridget Mensa, and social media team George Nkunu and Pastor Thomas Kofi Asamoah, one more and Bomachidoma and the pay yedi jumedi no ebro live on Happy 98.9 FM. Quickly, me catch us on my numu at saying and the pay Yabeko Savannah region near Quaco Hedia, a walk a honum and answer dear Elcoso, our honum and nano pay Yen Saka Yenia Bako our honuma. Yenano ever chichi and come and pay a year say Mubarak. Now, one year who the Elcoso our Savannah region and nano pay Mubarak. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing, my brother?
Well, we thank God. Actually, we are in the northern region at this moment.
You are in the northern region at this moment.
Exactly.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
Many, many happy returns, bro.
So, how is the northern region this morning?
Well, I must admit that the atmosphere is very, very chilled. For the past 2 weeks, we have been experiencing dry winds, from the borders of Ghana, from Burkina Faso all the way to Baku and into the northern region. And so you can imagine, I must say the speed of the wind is very, very high. And it has really made the place very, very cool, very difficult for, people to come out at this particular point in time. So I must admit that it's very, very chilled here in the northern region for the past 2 weeks.
Now, what does this mean for the people of the northern region? Because I know that you are already accustomed to the weather condition in the region, but what necessarily does it mean to have such harsh weather conditions?
Definitely, it has a lot of effects negatively. If you look at, for instance, when we have these weather conditions here, a lot of people feel very lazy, to be honest with you, to wake up and go to their workplaces to serve Mother Ghana or whatever is happening. That is one of the disadvantages of this particular weather. Another aspect when it comes to our communities, as we speak now, I'm here in the Sanargu Kuku community under the Sanargu constituency. Of course, we have Honorable, Honorable, the Sanargu MP. He actually is not around here, but his constituency, I must say, is where I'm currently standing at this particular moment to check on the situation when it comes to the dams we have in the metropolis and also in the municipality. This is one of the dams in this particular area where the community uses this particular dam. Unfortunately, the situation is different here this time round. It's a dam where usually doesn't dry at the end of the year. But this year, because of the nature, because of the conditions, gradually it is spinning to its head, and that might actually affect the community as we speak at this particular moment. I have a couple of people here, though. Usually you have a lot of people coming here to fetch water, to cook, to fetch water, to bath, to fetch water, to drink, and what have you. But because of the weather condition, I must say that has changed. You will hardly see people around here because of the weather condition. So that is also another effect. It may have a toll on the people or the community here if eventually this condition continues, because the dry winds usually have effect of drying water or the drainage system here at this particular moment. So it is not good for the people here, and that is one of the disadvantages.
Now, you made mention of dams and the fact that they are drying up. There's been some story that's been trending on social media for some time now about dams which were supposed to have been constructed but have all dried up. Can you confirm for me whether that is the situation where you are or anywhere in the region that you know of?
In actual fact, I visited a couple of places. That was yesterday on the Yendi Tamale Road, where I know one of the dams really constructed. I'm not sure whether under this government or that was a project by this government, but that is a dam that is well constructed for the usage of the people in that particular community. Unfortunately, due to the weather condition as well, the dam has really dried up, and I'm not sure that in the next 2 months, the community will have water actually to use at that particular moment. Where I'm currently standing is an old dam. I'm told that the MP had actually, requested or actually pledged that they construct this particular dam because it serves the purposes of a lot of people in this particular community. That has not been done at this particular moment. If you look at the acres of land of which this particular dam is occupying, I must admit, if there is any effort whatsoever, whether from philanthropies, NGOs, or by the government, to probably push this land forward and construct a proper dam, it will serve the purposes of which the communities will use. But this is not the situation where I am in Sanargu Kuku. The dam is not well constructed. the marking of this particular place is not really properly done. And I must admit that if I give you pictures of this dam, you will be marveled by the nature of this water people used to drink, people used to cook, and people used to bath.
Now, do well to send us the pictures of where you are, because our people are listening and would like to put it on our website for people to know what really is happening in the Savannah region. We'll be ending the conversation shortly, but how does this impact on commerce in your area? Because I know in your area, there are cattle rearers, there are, farmers there. If the water is dried up, obviously, the grass that the cow or the cattle may feed on would also, dry up. What happens to business?
Definitely, that is where the problem comes from. Where I'm standing, I'm told by the couple of people I met here that very soon we will have the cattle coming here, not only to graze the few grasses at the shores of this particular dam, but also to drink, from this particular dam, which to me is very unfortunate. They wish that they could have a fence, wall built, across borders of this particular dam to ensure and to also prevent these cattle from not only grazing the grasses, but coming to use this water. Because it's the water, I'm told by many here, that they use to, cook, they used to drink. And of course, when there is no water, flowing from, the dam, it becomes very, very difficult for the community. Across the banks of this particular river are few farmers, let me put it that way, who, because of the drainage system, because of dry season, they have actually planted few vegetables around and what have you. It definitely, at the end of the day, if we have a dry up here, it will affect the business as well, because this is one of the areas where most of these communities get their, profit from. So it will have a toll on business, I must admit, but as to whether that is going to continue is another area we need to actually look at.
Quickly, you said there were people with you where you are.
Yeah.
Could you have a conversation with one or two under 1 minute for me?
All right. I have here Abdul Somed, who I met here this morning. He came here to fetch water. That's Abdul Somed. No, Karabiaula. Mwaluma chatakara tulehe dinyala besharan di bezia zenganga dinyura. Ai dinyur nar ngona. Kada dinyur nar ma dingmala sashel kamo yer ni kanna komma mi ne beshe ma so ikara tinyala dingmala dinyala besharan bien via zante bendigo. Bo la balka amal na zante gwamnati. Trian sura gwamnati ko yina antamal ta mu alma vien ya sete. Ace mu alma ni beshe ma daban nan. Okay, so what the summit is actually trying to say is that actually pieced him with a question as to whether the effect of this particular weather will be felt by the people. Well, he has admitted that though the dam usually do not dry, but like I indicated, the nature of the weather is very, very, very serious for this particular community. Well, he's also urging government to probably come and construct this particular dam properly so that it will serve the purposes of which these communities can also use. I have another, gentleman here. Are you Imrana? Imrana, Antiagbatanam Natu to combine and command. Tinzans. Sukonko. Ten you, okay. Comment mi nimpo beviela na balbo kambal na zanti gomnante ne gana za njende sanar go kuku komo terban to so for relation atamele kachi ngala the patron seems like what one Imrana is also trying to say is that the nature of the water is very bad. You have full garbage, let me put it that way, leaves and everything you think is more or less like a dumping place. And people are using this water to bath, to drink, and to cook for their families. That is very, very unfortunate. Well, he's also urging, government to come into their aid. It looks as if there is no attention paid to this particular community when it comes to, issues of sanitation, issues of, water and what have you. So Imrana is also pledging to government to come to their aid.
Oh, I say, We're grateful that you brought us updates from the northern region today. We're grateful.
Okay.
And that was Oman Nimutiseng, and we spoke to our brother in the northern region telling us about the very harsh weather conditions in the northern region, how it's impacting on the lives of the people. I'm saying, if you kakra, before now, many opinion di and intema before Casanum, ya beshem biem. But yenya say on all northern region in Indian Commonana or Casse, whether I want northern region, I know she, whether I know. I know you know, and this is why I dry. Na senior who social media no, I'm say a yakwe no cresse dams no, a dry. Na the car at the tail ender, a man near my sifim kakani say, in shoe corner or moka condom no, and no one and one and one or more sakwa jari, into yin shoe bang. A yin shoe bang. What kind of water is it that these people are going to drink? If it's the same water that the cattle are going to drink from. Well, Fati, quickly before I Raymond the sports in my brain.
Me problem is say dams no more castle more constructed there will be water all year round.
Yeah.
In senior because in so penny bar northern region serious as a macra how you go I can say a bumbe jare once a week near the no. It's nothing compared to the Ekosu northern region. And you know, now we know that it is not working.
Yeah.
To me, it's not working. So dam no be all year round. So what is our backup? The dam cannot be the backup. We need to back up the dam.
Yeah.
And you know, store you see then that is what government should look into. Or better constructed dams, you know, because since you're naturally the kind of they need a lot of water for farming, for the cattle to graze and all that. But you hear in Sio when all these things go wrong. And to say, government should move away from just constructing the dams to think of how to store water for such situations.
Ray, do you have a comment?
Well, I think that to a large extent, we're all expecting, say, based on the one district, one dam policy, you know, water wouldn't
one
be
village,
one village, one dam. No, water wasn't going to be a problem for you know people in the north. But as a conversation with the gentleman speaking about the fact that the same water the same water cattle be far and in I think that it clearly speaks to the fact this whole issue of water as part of sustainable development goals, no, it hasn't been it hasn't been treated well in the north. Up north, no, they haven't taken serious consideration, and it has serious effects on the people because you again speak about the health facilities there, and you look at the effects of what they consume, and you actually tell that you know there are a lot of things that have to be done with regards to giving them portable drinking water, and also Fati spoke about the storage. Storage is very, very important. If there's an alternative to just having the dam, I think that to a large extent the government should look into that because this clearly is not enough. Because if there's just one source for every activity in the community, I think that's a big problem and it needs further interrogation from government.
10 minutes to 7. We'll be back.
So we'll cast a video mobile da. And yeah, and one happy morning show. I will happy 98.9 FM.
You drew Hanu say now, no matter joke. Hanu the hot true.
Big Sam of football made in Germany for you.
That is the thing. Football made in Germany.
Now also players in home.
Thomas Hassler.
That's right.
One more muti no munim bomu.
Yes sir.
Last
that day since.
Mami
names name.
See, you bought Effenberg. Uni Effenberg.
Stefan Effenberg.
You bought Thomas Hassler.
Yeah.
You bought Thomas Hassler. We are na medwaba down. Na medwaba Andy Muller.
Thank you.
Andy Muller no. Enti me do free Andy Muller hona na medwa ko shia Efen saying.
Hey,
well, Jamila. I'm good.
Big Sam. Some catch you say your best sports no so. Me for Big Sam because me do to Sam Allardyce, former England international and former coach of the Three Lions, and he's coached lots of teams in England. It's your best sports in the me for Big Sam. It discusses in may address you as Big Sam, not Samuel Eshun. So what you atum?
And yeah, me for Big Ray.
Oh, Debbie.
Sanya big to big.
It didn't be a metro. It didn't be a metro. Now, coming up in sports in the next 10 minutes, a lot of sporting action happened over the weekend, and Ghana Premier League match week 2, Ebaye and Accra Hearts of Oak are in big trouble. Ket Simeon Okreku, FA president, has been speaking for the first time since Owini election. He has been speaking about what the FA is doing and what they intend to do in the next few years. And also, La Liga action returned after the Christmas break. Match day 19 at Oja, there was a derby between Espanyol and Barcelona dropped 2 points, ensuring that Real Madrid joined top of the table with Barcelona over the weekend. And also there were games in the Serie A. Top 2 Nidia Oman ball this weekend, but on the Bobo and Numewe, those are fixtures to look forward to in the Italian Serie A. And also FA Cup third round matches over the weekend, and there were no major upsets but lots of replays for some of the big teams in England. And also ATP Cup currently ongoing in Perth, Brisbane and Sydney. So and say Yabba details and Yabba started from Friday, and Friday as a team biaba Ghana Premier League and talk about branding. If you talk about branding, if you talk about appeal to the fans and everything, Lagos Cities FC are taking Ghana Premier League by storm because they have the money back. According to say the Manchester City of Ghana football, apart from the fact that performance set Manchester City of Ghana football, I think they have lots of money.
Who's the owner of that team?
Interestingly, the owner didn't shed them pay, but reports just say it is owned by an oil company. It's a sponsor oil company, and I hear the management of that oil company manage team, and the team was bought from former president of the FA, Kwesi Nyantechi. It was formerly Wild Stars, but they rechristened it Lagos Cities FC. And Omeni Kumasi Asante Kotoko and a ball on Friday night. And interestingly, Shatta-Wale was on the football field that day. Shatta-Wale is a stand supporter of Lagos Cities FC. He performed before the match kicked off, but the game didn't go as Lagos Cities would expect because Kumasi Asante Kotoko beats them by 3-1, making sure 100% record to the start of the Ghana Premier League remains intact. And also on Saturday at the Accra Sports Stadium, Interallies beat Bechem United by 2-1. On Sunday, lots of games were played, and at the Brekum Golden City Park, Brekum Chelsea were held to a goalless draw by Dansoman-based Liberty Professionals. Now, Techiman City Park played host to Techiman 11 Wonders and Dreams FC. At the end of the game, the visitors Dreams FC ran away 1-0 winners against Techiman 11 Wonders. At the Indum Sports Complex, Elmina Sharks and Karila United played out a pulsating 1-1 draw. Alaji Gruses King Faisal continued to struggle in the Ghana Premier League after they were beaten at home by Ashanti Gold in the regional derby at the Babayara Sports Stadium. And also on Sunday, Midiama SC at the Akun Park demolished Accra Hearts of Oak by 3-0, a result that has left lots of Hearts of Oak fans very angry. Hearts of Oak fans because Omar realizes Omar Pam coach Kim Grant fortunes and Shedan Sisaya. House of Folk were beaten, and the pressure once again is on the management of Accra House of Folk. Now, Oba Accra Soa on Sunday now, Accra Great Olympics against 2010 and 2017 champions Adriana Stars. Now, on them say Accra Great Olympics, Oli Rosalinda, Oli Mashi, Oli Gbogbo, Oli 1 season, 1 relegation. Omuba League after they were reinstated as a Nyaman Shedan Koyema because they've lost or 2 matches about this season. Olympics were beaten by Adriana Stars. Last minute winner from Adriana Stars. Sure say Omunya 3 maximum points in that game. And also at the dreaded Red Bull Arena, Wafa to me share mysterious Ebusua Drafts. Me sure say Ebusua Drafts your team. Almost sure by 2-0. Wafa also ran away winners. It's your share league log now. Adriana Stars was 6 points. Midiama have 6 points. Ash Gold 6 points. Dreams FC have 6 points. Ashanti Kotoko have 6 points. Wafa 6 points. Brekum Chelsea, Bechem United, Interallies, Liberty Professionals, Karila Sharks, Lagos Cities following that order. But if you are looking for Accra Hearts of Folk on the league table, Accra Hearts of Folk are currently 17th on the Ghana Premier League table with 0 points. It's a Ghana Premier League a course. Now, about other stories that Ket Simeon Okreku has been speaking about the Ghana Football Association, and in an interview he granted Nathaniel Ato on Sports Link over the weekend. He was speaking about the fact all Ghanaians are Ghana Premier League matches being shared. omone broadcast company be akasa ente from game week 3 coming this weekend no the games will be telecasted on TV for everybody to watch ente Ket Okreku ekasa efasa asem no ho. And in other news no so no on say the technical team of all national teams no as a dissolve the executive committee make sure say dissolve nyina after the tenure of the contract of Akwesi Appiah expire in December. And Ket Okreku was explaining why they decided to dissolve the technical team of all national teams. Yentieno na yentwa discussion also.
What is true is that we have not been as competitive as we would love to be at all levels of our national teams, be it at U17, U20, U23, the local national team, and the Black Stars. Same is applicable to the women's team. We need to find ways of being very, very competitive. We need to find ways to make the performances of our teams not stable, but in a very, very stable way. We need to produce quality national teams and ensure that we not only compete, but also appear at the grand finales and win trophies. And I think that that's the desire of the council.
And the executive council no opache say desire any vision they say to make national teams competitive, and clearly they are trying to tell us say coaches now more at the helm of the national teams prior to this time no I say to me ama national teams no anye competitive. But biggest question I hear bisa and they say decision now executive council no atake no was it the right decision say ombema national team coaches, the entire technical team of all national teams, no, almost step aside, no, was it the right decision for them? Because we a new team and take you over and burdening process now, was it the right decision? Say, ombema ubia kotinefi, whilst they try to fix new people in some positions now. And then a question now, up for poll on online platforms this morning. It's bisa say, was it the right decision for the Ghana Football Association Executive Council to dissolve all technical teams of national teams? And say, one can say, Akwesi Appiah, Black Stars coach, has been at the helm since Ghana went to the World Cup in 2006. He was assistant coach for Rato Medukovic at the time. To this point where he was head coach of the team, Yako AFCON 2019, he saw us through 2 qualifiers. No, I think that for most people, no, interest in air with the Black Stars. And say, Yabisa say, right move. One can say, you're a sports fan. Sammy.
Sometimes, and I'll emphatically say it's a step in the right direction. Because you see, football and sporting activities, for some time now for some time now you progress be. And sometimes I'll just deviate a bit, say, lesser known sports, at the end of the year, what I say, you can't sports, Ghana Hanum say, do be a soccer. But there are other disciplines, and those times you can't sports or Ghana, I'm saying you can't football, you can't athletics.
Big Sam, I'm to ask you, back. This is a discussion for another day. We're a big discussion. I say a tina huna, but James Akwesi Appiah, I send a thank you letter. I'm a Ghanaians. He has sent a letter this morning, and he says it has been an absolute honor to have the opportunity and privilege to coach the Black Stars, and he's thanked the President of the Republic, he's thanked the FA, and he's thanked the support of Ghanaians during his tenure in office. And James Akwesi Appiah that Ghana for Ase. But another news, no, La Liga games etoja this weekend, and Barcelona, 10-men Barcelona were held to a 2-2 draw by neighbors Espanyol, and on him said it was a derby Espanyol and the Barcelona no rivals. Boss how much? Barcelona came back from a goal down to score 2 goals in the second half, only to be pegged back by Wulay's 88th minute goal. And making sure say the point at the top of the table was cut from 2 points. They lost 2 points, and Real Madrid also beat Getafe by 3-0. Osha top of the table in the La Liga now. Barcelona and Real Madrid are going head to head. More 40 points. You can't separate both teams at this point in the competition. Other matches also toja. Valladolid beat Leganes by 2. Valladolid and Leganes ball 2-2 draw. Sevilla and Atletico Bilbao almost ball 1-1. Granada and Real Mallorca. Granada share Mallorca 1-0. Real Sociedad were at home at the Anoeta. They lost to Villarreal by 2-1. Alaves and Betis ball 1-1. Aiba any Valencia share Aiba 1-0, and Celta Vigo any Osasuna no ball 1-1. Atletico Madrid also share Levante by 2-1. In the Serie A no, Brescia lose at home to Lazio by 2-1. Genoa defeated Sassuolo by 2-1. AS Roma also lost at home to Torino. And tonight, games betoja ewo Italian Serie A Bologna any Fiorentina bebo, AC Milan any Sampdoria beshia, Atalanta any Parma beshia, Juventus any Cagliari beshia, Lecce any Udinese subeshia, Napoli any Inter Milan. Almost ye Adamacha yebeshe anyway. But there was FA Cup action over the weekend, and the talk of town is the goal scored by Curtis Jones, and this is the goal he scored for Liverpool in the Merseyside derby against Everton.
Origi, Curtis Jones, nice, Origi, Jones, what a goal! It's an absolutely stunning goal by Curtis Jones for Liverpool. Well, you could describe this FA Cup tie as men against boys.
The goaler, 18-year-old Nishaya for Liverpool. This was his first senior appearance for Liverpool, and on making sure say 25-yard Keller no share was the talk of the FA Cup third round fixtures. And Osha other results told Jana Obesha Lucas Moura also share fine header to make sure say Tottenham were not beaten by Championship side Middlesbrough. Until Tottenham any Middlesbrough bebo replay in 8 days time. Osha other results Bayern Rochdale any Newcastle ebo 1-1 until almost on the ball replay. Fulham Eshe Aston Villa by 2-1. Brighton and Hove Albion were beaten by Sheffield Wednesday by 1-0. Preston 2, Norwich 4, Southampton 2, Huddersfield 0, Leicester City 2, Wigan 0. Manchester City beat Port Vale by 4-1. Wolverhampton Wanderers and Manchester United played out a pulsating 0-0 draw. Chelsea and Nottingham Forest, Chelsea winning by 2-0. Crystal Palace lost to Derby by 1-0, and Gillingham also lost to West Ham by 2 goals. And say na FA Cup matches no call, but in the matches I'll be expecting no obe great obe say Japan any Georgia Beshia ewo Rafta Arena, and we are expecting say Yoshihito Nishioka in this particular match. And also we are expecting say in the same group we are expecting to see the likes of Rafa Nadal be in action when Spain face Uruguay. Rafa Nadal and Batista Agut will be representing Spain when they take on Pablo Cuevas and Franco Roncadelli in this particular match. And also in Group A, South Africa representing Africa, Omni Chile Beshia, and Kevin Anderson in action in today's fixture. And also Serbia and France still in Group A, almost Beshia, Novak Djokovic, any Gil Monfils Beshia, and Dusan Lajovic, any Benoit Paire, also Beshia in other games when France take on Serbia. And in Group E, Croatia, Poland, Australia, Argentina, so Beshia. But before I'm sorry, how conscious are you about your mental health? Big Sam.
The question is, I know.
Very well. Now, my bizarre question will because during FA Cup matches this weekend, every game started exactly 1 minute after the top of the hour. Until 4 o'clock, the match started. The match started 4:01, and it was simply because they wanted to play a video for 1 minute, talking to people, football fans all over the world about mental health awareness. And also, football has ups and downs, and so does life. And they are telling people to take a minute to think about mental health. And we hear of situations like depression, anxiety, emotional imbalance, anger management. These are all mental health issues. And because of that, we decided say, a campaign beer. It just takes a minute. And to just take a minute to think of your mental health. Because we are in a society where people have issues, but they can't voice it out. They have to bottle it in, which is not a good way of dealing with issues. Because we share facts concerning how people mental health issues now by the WHO now. Depression is one of the leading causes of disability, affecting 264 million people.
Wow.
Depression.
Wow.
And again, almost 800,000 people die by suicide every year. One person dies from suicide every 40 seconds. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among individuals aged between 15 and 24. And to mental health, the idea say share. And to England, almost start to say this is a novelty. Almost start to say, almost making sure say take it time to think about their mental health. Oh, a problem be you speak to people, you voice it out, you get people to help you. And say, I'm entreating Obia Oti and Opawe say, take a minute to think about your mental health. And let's see the way forward. May I say with me, our happy sports show no so anopawi.
Edini menya. The king is naked. We'll be back.
8.9 Happy FM.
Brunya na wabe yo, New Year no sushi. I sense more official poll. You're bigger and better, Brunya. Don't come in sales. You're more crazy, do discounter. Enter center. Yes, I see December 16th. The 8th January 2020. I sense products now. Quality unkwa. Television set, refrigerator, chest freezers, air condition, sound system, gas cooker, washing machine, mobile phones, microwave ovens, blenders, and appliances and kitchen. You're more 5 years warranty now. Your cash road there. Or your best quality, very durable, energy efficient, stylish, reuse so dead with no hobiara. To Teminke, no high sensual rubiara wakra. Tema, Kumase, Taukradi, Taukwa, Siane Ena Tamali. Natural high sense quality product. Yermo crazy do discount more. Why you come up for? Or December 16th, the 8th January 2020. For 030-255-0000. Terms and conditions apply. High sense, everyday prices for everyday people.
Nyansa bua kwenye Kwabuna bua funi Eni jembra na bendu Ukilikite krinki Uhuri kwasro Uhuri bafamo Udanyame Ensampi in 2020 Ejwana kusifiata Kai Ebenye diwa Anopantubako Kusiria donko Shia minyansa bua kwa Eni kwabuna buyafo Inkransesem Live worship Ayi sorry in summer ehu Sunsum wiase Yedingine at town Our happy 98.9 FM Kayo say Ensampi.
Play one of it.
So we'll cast a video in mobile da. And yeah, and no one happy morning show. Our happy 98.9 FM. Our voice notes now with text messages in the sending or 020-2222-067. And I share on Facebook and Instagram at Happy989FM and also Twitter at Happy FM Ghana. My Indi in Sawaswo CCA. 98.9 Happy FM.
The warriors be on your coupon session pepepo abrabo enya rush abrabo and found to Toby. And it's all between them no akwaye wedding now akwa high casa kesiena we hen din and council nya na kawe the same thing. Next one who din any onipa ne de ancient and prepare ho. Happy FM ye mana ye izama o. Only get a man anti-ache, much impinache, bear 5 years in here. Sika 70 won't me worry again, and there's also worry out. We have 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 Ghana cedis as I'm worried. A dear first radio station, I thought to know who to say. But you have 500 Ghana cedis per 500 Ghana cedis per. Yenya wedding, come on, from Maupa. For honeymoon, you better keep it. Cars, I'm over you. Montadia, I'm over chef. You're taking care of it. Adrian is some. Now, a Korean compound. Couple number winning. You want to Dubai. I'm going to Dubai. I'm in Cook. Now, Momo could Dubai. Marco had your own home. Marco, I'm afraid it's a safari, my boy. Marco safari. Take advantage of this opportunity Happy FM is giving you. Just pay 500 Ghana cedis. 14th of February, Valentine's Day. Happy FM mass wedding a basso sheshe. Never became registration form 500 Ghana cedis. One no do for moon worry to so. Ayo nyame na shishama wo. And to take advantage of it. Nobody saw the phone number 020-2222-067. 22069 02022222069 and 0244257667 and 0249507429. Now what's here says adia ye ebe end on the 17th of January. 17th of January. With the 500 Ghana cedis neighbor after the 17th of January, you can participate in the happy mass wedding promotion. Remember the terms and conditions apply. What kind of Bible kakra? Sit at your office and put a big smile on your face. Only pay on the best piano pay piano on for being free ho. I didn't offer free in chain. Or the Nigerian a few in chain. Or the Akumapan a few in chain. Yamamina Akwaba. And may also say ye di and come on and none pay. But some comments in imagine Benama Kandina at your mamma and none pay. But and I know I be on my I was set ye di a home come on. Ye share Jumedi and Asinum. Memaunia and Tiasa and ye to trim come on afar. And some are a far electoral commission, political parties a war on my yimu. The election of our members of parliament, any young presidents a war on my yimu. Last year, and EC4 started MIA Nyahu and Popoye say, one more episode, one more new voters register. Now, about the same, a Koba said one more fair IPAC meeting, a year interparty advisory committee, and Komukushia normal abobo afasenia, sa new voters register no, one more ebeye no afa. No more kushia ya, one more ekobobo na political parties in Numbika so more dear. Some meeting no woman in the movie. Adentia because one must see easy for no ambushi omo. It was not an item I was more discussing, but easy for no person this asem ebeshemu. Number 2, one more join Ghana ye here new voters register bia. If you say your voters register ye issue and one edi your mampanyi otiabemu. Members of parliament and one edi womo. Referendum ya na say so enke akwa say no and a year district level elections ye and one so any edi ye. Enti election book ya ye use for all these no adenti ne pese system isi for say munyanti ase de enti ya pese system no infidie na ye de ye adwuma no sisia no entimi ye adwuma se na e wo se ye adwuma first no break down de bebre enti ye elections a obeti ase o wo mo ahase 7 o'clock e so we as a machine that break down to wo ahase 12 o'clock. All these things are problems. Wo mo database a wo mo use no company a wo ye mo no o na a control database no but si on be so o man kasa a control database no wo mo so make the point is say sisia no technology advance enti adentina ye introduce new technology sisi akwa enye events o thumb print and asa o fingerprint nko no moteki nemum o facial imaging so ye be take nti ukodu hon ma nya fe ne ekwa hwe book mu wodi wani kire camera na camera na o sa ni eno no akoto oba. Number 2, I want to make the point say the voters register we are using presently no it is overbloated. Me no crane overbloated no one more can't mentiase ebi enyampanyin phone number kan some better mu say voters register no abloatia na say embloatia but me sure say it was as a result of sa bloated registers and same year 2015-2016 yakoka so Togolese for by 76,000 bi ewo ye voters register ne so ma ye de court ma court e share kiti say electoral commission no one more audit your voters register no and this ya audit ya e chira sem biem ya kan ya enra na metiwa na wo bi ade ade sende me em se Fati na wo de sende me mame embohwi na me hwe se me hu a na menkan enchire Ghana for aye ekobe ye from inter-party resistance against new voters register. Womo se ene womo ye press conference no efade ho ni nyina eba akofa voters register na 2020 any womo no among for raising concerns about the time frame ye wa ye de akwakoto aba se ye betimia aye new voters register ama ye de akwakoto aba na isi for womo response on the by a very lengthy document about 16 pages womo chechire ni nyina mu a toss mu na unso wutie mu ye Ghana ni ba wadwenkyere awa asemi hu ene se miento nka ye WhatsApp line no eye 02022222067 and now so betimi hu your Facebook ye handle no ye happy 989 FM. Happy 989 FM. May I new voters register and I say you use old one now. Fati.
Some way it is dicey and a bit confusing.
Okay.
Because Senya Udin Kankai and voters register year man penny just 17th December, yeah, district level elections. Easy to say everything went smoothly. Bibia Edanakwemo. Voters register ya you see for district level election. Omo can say technologically advanced when they were asking for equipment and all that for verification and all those things. Omo can say omo yes and ya technology. As for technology, SSR every day. Ain't you know for how long? And I be continue say yes, voters register, yes, voters register, sir. And yes, voters register, na old register, the year 2 ago. And I say, yeah, the compare, say, way dean womb, and yeah, then I think that the best way to go, say, a page, if it is bloated, or more any some womb, new film. And another thing, so Ghanaians, we also have a responsibility. You should be able to go to EC, let them know no way you need panidi film. But Sunday man in as and fire home. Nina count them at the end of a bloatino. Meanwhile, data na collecting. Instead, then moon to me if most say machines now are obsolete, a bit break it down. And can't you transfer data from one equipment to the other? And I said, then maintain maybe when we get the expert, and I said, East Nangasabana will be explaining, share the reason why we can't just clean the existing register and use.
Ray.
Well, I think this whole issue of voters register, it started in 2011. And I think that now because of the introduction of biometric voters register, political parties went to sleep. They were excited about what they were going to see.
Okay.
Say, we were moving away from the old way of doing things to a technological way of doing things. Certain details they fail to pay attention to. And why do I say this? OSHA biometric voter register now. At the end of 2 presidential elections and 1 district level election, the machines became defective. The machines were defective. So, there was a letter addressed to the EC in 2018 from STL telling the EC say BVB machines biometric voter device, any biometric voter registration kits are obsolete. Just after 2016, until the claim say registration for 2016 elections recorded 47% failure rate. Questions have to be asked. In 2011, what was the plan? What was the longevity of what they were procuring at the time? Because me, in 2012, when I went to a registration center, when I saw the laptop they were using, I said, laptop way. And the chicken has finally come home to roost. Because they are now telling us, say, even the software, the server, Linux, whatever, a combination of 2003 and 2008, as at 2012. That is what they are telling us. Okay? So, what kind of consultation went on at that time? That is where the whole problem is coming from. The foundation, right from the get-go, was weak. Issues were not handled well, and that is why we are here today. That is why today, the EC is telling us that, look, what you did in 2011, the current solution you are giving us, we can only verify with your friend is in the thumb. Obiba police station, or he went through the registration, she went through the registration, but day of voting, when they put the thumbprint on it, remember, you can't verify with the face, because even the pictures, almost the pictures are sharp. And so, all these problems have arisen from the registration we did in 2012. Until when the STL Bekacho say, this is the matter now, maybe someone will say, so what machines did you give me? This is where the whole thing is coming from. And you see, political parties must begin to understand that. Look, when it comes to voter register, you don't play politics with it. And you don't sit down being suspicious the whole time.
So, You would have to hold on 1 second for me and let me hit the phone lines. I have a guest on the show. I'm in Nkoma. Best answer about hobby. Yensa aka a PNC for chairman, People's National Convention for chairman, Mr. Bernard Mona. Yensa aka na pay ewa homane. So Mr. Mona, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Senior Pen, no more to say.
Wo mpa e bonti metiase.
Abishiapa.
Afise say na wo yire wa wontafo.
Amen. Senior, you didn't come out and afa electoral commission any one more decision on take say was say one more new voters register no procure new equipment. Minimum say political parties are working out of the IPAC meeting na I'm say PNC for moka home. Yen start in free ho e dey poti na mojina so ntia man kwotena sa meeting ni mo.
Me da say anopai mamema wa afishiapa me say afi nyina enna na yeshia wo fidie so and o guest how was studio so I wish them the best in 2020. Nia me pese menka emagana fo nyina entene say the intransigence of the electoral commission has a potential to plunge this nation in chaos of alarming proportion. Now, say electoral commission on my dream is in some baby cano efa their actions and inactions or muntia. This nation should not be surprised that chaos and confusion will abound. Meaning, near ECOSO efa electoral commission is at variance with the motto of the Electoral Commission, which is transparency, fairness, and integrity. So, Electoral Commission, sorry, na Otimiaka say, your emergency IPAC meeting, emergency inter-party advisory committee meeting. Now you could do emergency IPAC meeting now. Issues to be discussed are a new voters register. How can a new voters register suddenly become an emergency issue? It must take long-term planning, reasoning, and above all, research to come to that conclusion. It is Electoral Commission prayer. Now it is a sudden decision that requires an emergency IPAC meeting. Then it means that the Electoral Commission is not worthy of its mandate. Now, IPAC meeting now more fair emergency. You could do now the voter registration ediba. Na political parties na kase JNT na modi eba. It was at that point the Electoral Commission was now going to research into the reasons for which a new voters register is needed. Inti omakoye omo research and further resistance no. Omo ankasa say they will now bring the reasons to justify a new register. Now, social reasons now almost say people have worked over the period and their fingerprints cannot be obtained by the biometric verifiers. So a new register will stop people from using their fingers. A new register, ebe ma nipa and you see omonsa enye jumadia. They say omobekwa kofa pikas ne shovel no mutu. And now omobekwa koye carpentry work. And now omobekwa koye block work. People will continue to work, farmers will continue to farm and use the implements. So it may potentially affect them if that is the reasoning of the Electoral Commission. It will not stop because the Electoral Commission has introduced a new register. Number two, say facial recognition. What percentage of the devices in the last election was incapable of capturing people? It was obvious that less than 0.6%, 0.6% less than that. It's because of that, the Electoral Commission wants to embark on an entirely new register. Many workers say, I'm sure say time na Osha say who you see bank account now computers were not introduced in our system. Did the banks call for you to come all of a sudden to do a new bank account registration? They simply migrated your information from the manual system now into the computerized system and now into the biometric system at banks. They only ask you to come and do is to come for them to recapture certain data. They did not ask you to come for a new registration process. In modern times, Utimifa old computer, you extract information from it and put in your new computer. You are able to transmit information from an old phone to a better phone without necessarily starting a whole entering of the data on your phone. So what is it that the Electoral Commission is talking about?
Mr. Mona.
Except that the Electoral Commission the persons they have at the technical unit of the Electoral Commission are actually not technical, because migrating information does not necessarily call for a new register.
Mr. Mona, my phone question kakra. We share communication as no. We use word be say intransigence of the Electoral Commission. One more for IPAC meeting now. Enu si some about discussing issues about the new register. But some of the arguments say IPAC no and so that constitutionally recognized body is in a mbana mom who quite say woman have oversight responsibility our elections our my and it's all my research no one say and what could he say I was set ye new voters register. Where does the intransigence come in?
I am saying you lack appreciation of how IPAC came into being. I will take opportunity to enlighten you on that. It was somewhere in 1995. After the political parties boycotted the 1992 parliamentary elections, there was no opposition in Parliament. Parliament was supposed to naturally make laws. Most of the laws governing elections were made in Parliament by one political party. That is the party of the National Democratic Congress. It took opposition voices to call on the Electoral Commission that electoral reforms were needed. But we couldn't go to Parliament because we did not have representation in Parliament. So the decision was that we should form this interparty advisory committee where political parties that were not in Parliament can ventilate ideas on how to improve upon the efficacy of our elections. That is how come IPAC came into being. Since then, from the opaque ballot boxes to the translucent ballot boxes to transmitting ourselves from the names on a register to the finger thumbprints to the ID cards and now to the polls book and all that, were decisions that were taken at IPAC which enabled the drastic and dramatic reforms that has taken place so far. By convention, and conventions are part of our laws, the convention is that the political parties and the Electoral Commission, civil society organizations, over the period have worked in sync to bring about massive reforms in our nation. It is also now because there is no law that says that there should be an IPAC, it means that IPAC decisions should not work. Then we have to go and do all the decisions of IPAC that has led us to this far. Conventions are part of our law, Minya.
Mami, Mbisa Asamo Enfa database na oka ho asem say the transfer of the database no. Easy for no akase. And one could aspect even reporter one more machines no initially one de my yedi year you or my report to compo say machines no are obsolete. Enti I was here sir. And so many omonya.
Oh, and yeah, no, make us say buying new equipment does not mean that you should go and restart your entire data processes. Say make I know and announce him.
Let me tell you Bernard.
Inti make us say so cut off phone for na the phone ne capacity Eshun chain ni ana use because who know na minim say who use Huawei bia na later you wanted to upgrade the content.
In the same lane.
Did you have to go and start entering every information on the new phone, or you just migrated it onto the new phone? You did. And the basic IT, you don't need the processes that the Electoral Commission wants to take us through. Laborious and expensive. So what you say? Except that the Electoral Commission doesn't understand IT. But even if they don't understand IT, like Afarijan did before, it is important that you sit, because most of the political parties have IT experts. Now, we can tell you how these things can be done. Then you can go independently and get it done. But say mujina hotinchina say be at 10% be almost 1 billion Ghana cedis in Inti. This is where you want to take our nation to. Then I think that you are misleading all of us. But I'm surprised. Says Chairman Sambosu's led majority will go and give approval, because Chairman Sambosu called political parties to go and debate on some issues of parliamentary democracy. And at the end of the day, Chairman Sambosu was lamenting the high cost or the amount of money that the Electoral Commission normally demands in an election year. And this is just one example that as elections are drawing closer, Electoral Commission wants to look for money in ways that are disingenuous. After this voter registration exercise, the Electoral Commission is now going to talk about the 2020 elections, and that will come with its own budget. Don't forget that in 2016, they were looking for 1.2 billion to be able to do this exercise. The Parliament of Ghana approved 826. The difference had to be done by donor sources. How much is the Electoral Commission going to demand for the 2020 elections? More importantly, the convention has been that it's after every 10 years following the conclusion of the population census and a new voters register, if need be. The 2020 population census will soon be starting. Why is the Electoral Commission in a rush to do a new voters register ahead of the 2020 population census?
Bernard, yadi enkomotwetwe no ebawie no quickly. Say metiwasia na che say money problem with EC say or acquire new machines to use with the old database. Meboa.
It's been done severally. I've just told you that we have transmitted manual information into computerized system, into biometric system, even at the banking sector, which houses our money. And there is nothing more serious in life than the money people keep. So capturing the biometric data and transmitting them onto new machines should not be anything rocket science. In fact, rocket science, people study it.
Bernard, you better also know say only a chicken come happy 98.9 FM.
Opinion me that to say, oh now you're first person I mean no akasa in 2020.
Me that say Wama made the opportunity to speak to you this morning. Mr. Bernard Mona, I chairman ma PNC and I pay only yedin komo about the new voters register EC4 episode omoye. Na utiena the all can say the old database is okay. If you want to buy new machinery to transfer the old database onto the new machines, we don't have a problem with you. But situation now be say fail now baba register nipa for no and no any more problem. Wait, now
yes, before me try the dynamic also. Yeah. I think that Bernard Mona made a certain assertion. I think that is not factually correct. Say almost is a register now after 10 years. Okay. It is quite clear. Say since 1987, 1988, the register has been changed 3 times. Now, the EC has replaced the voters register 7 years after 1987, and that was in 1992. The 1992 register was used for 9 years, and in 2004. And the 2004 register was used for 8 years before it was replaced in 2012. And at various points, it was reforms that prompted the change of the register. So, especially in 2012, Ghana decided to go digital. Ghana decided to infuse technology in our elections. That was what even prompted the change of that particular register. And it is not cast in stone, say, after every 10 years, and especially after every census, and almost is a register. And that is 1.9%. Maybe quite clear. Now make us say, political parties have decided, say, when this party is in power, and they propose, say, yes, it's a register, no, it is going to inure to their benefit. And you know, we have to be up in arms and fight it. And so there has been a perception there, say, the party in power, no, since they started kicking against the register post 2012 election petition in Niamano, just say, Omo agenda. That perception has not helped. So even if the EC is embarking on a course that is supposed to clean up the register, a course that is supposed to give us more credible results. And we all know, say, one of the key limitations of biometric register has been the fight against deduplication. It has been the biggest threat of every biometric process.
Argument in say, yes. With technology, this deduplication you are talking about
and
can be done without necessarily having
new register. You know what happened?
Mm-hmm.
When you go to the website of the suppliers of the BVP, the biometric, the kits, say, they have a system, a centralized system that is supposed to pick up duplication right from the registration point. I asked the question, at the time we were registering in 2012, was that system working?
Ray, hold on with that question. I mean, phone lines. So, Embra, Mr. Benefsin Ewa Homane, so a senior journalist or a poster, and the managing editor for the Daily Dispatch newspaper. About election and some Ewa or my Mupadia, Neso Unimun Sempa, you didn't come and pay Nianjin Adjune Ewa EC, new voters register, one more episode Omoyan. Agaben, good morning.
Good morning to you, for Afishapa.
I think come out to you now, and you want to thank Ben.
Boko.
Check in there last year, not maybe oh.
Oh, in your media into my invest in microfinance on your profit.
That's on your bed.
What's on your profit into unlock into tell a man average?
The ma. Okay, you're not a marriage way to call my Baba Jafisha Uncle Ben. Yet in command appear for new voters register EC Pedawayan. What can elections on some of my in your home sempa? The means I mean, then
you will meet us on the legally or your EC where you must the will run elections. Whilst admitting that is their job, in the aftermath of 1992 elections, the first election under the Fourth Republican Constitution, IPAC was formed. And IPAC was formed as a bridge between the EC and the political parties. Because there are no political parties, if there were a political system, EC need you, man, yeah. So I think that it is their right. Now they have decided that over there a new register. There's a division between the political parties. My personal view is that once EC was able to my year, a ban Amawan Sika to do it. I think that we should all do it. Now, moving forward, we should be able to, by 2024, and thereafter, stop the processing of Obaya register, that we should be able to, perhaps from 2024, use the Ghana card as a form of registration, as a form of voting. So my take is that once they've decided to do it, I don't see why they should not be able to do it, even though there's no total unanimity in agreeing with the EC.
Okay, man, how about the argument political parties will put forth there? Database na nkasa no database nansia na overkan then you cleaning. And so all that is required is the new technology to match up with the database we have.
No, listen, there, that argument will be there. Once they have decided, so if you then answer, I think that you can go and decide to test the matter in the court. Oh, so we saw a letter, why them pay there? Yes, it is true there be a time limit, but you should be able to go on the ground and let your people register. Second, in register, it's as if you have some way. In the end of the 2016 elections, MPP also the register is bloated. They won about 980,000 votes margin. When say it is a register, concentrate those of you who put up a no argument. And ECC, yes, you still want to do it in. Get to the ground and let your people register.
Man, is it just a matter of the Emrano Shawando Obutum Y BBNT or the way announce there the people, the stakeholders now when you obey a Jumano, one views, one input into new here, regardless of the position of the law?
Yes, Mr. Tete, one of the deputy EC chairpersons in charge of operations. Also, the last time I was here, there were so many. A system that we use is so archaic. There were so many problems. They had to spend so much time in repairing some of the problems. My view is that yes, the stakeholders have given their view. Say, why don't you want to go around? I think that we need to bear in mind that there is a certain misconception that, party B, the strength or urban areas, or B, the strength or rural areas. I think that is a misconception because before, at least the pattern has been for every 8 years until now, party B are the 2 terms that no with you. That thing is not valid because to win now, you have to win massively or win majority in the rural and urban areas. Until nobody can say that my strength is in the rural areas and perhaps getting a new register with disenfranchised persons who will not be able to register. So that misconception that they will target a particular party's strong base does not arise.
Again, one of key points be about Ghana card. Senkaibia 2024. And Kibetime use omo database now oma gather as the basis to go and vote. So yeah, Shesa 2024 you be use Ghana card now as basis and I see a register no database I be use no no. Now do we have to spend money now when we are going to use it in 2024 the Ghana card?
That is the choice of the EC and the government. You see,
but Uncle Ben, it's the taxpayers. It's the taxpayers' money. It's your money. It's my money as well.
Look, sir, your political party, they feel the government to use Usika. You need to campaign against them. I mean, Sakaram Kutia. It's once a year you see the down 448 million, and we could have used it for other things. A statement by Chairman Sabosu there. So what your voters register and NDC can never win elections. I am sorry. It's laughable. Because in America there will be so 2016 there was a lot of hula baloo and the water was the way blow them. What do we need to unbloat here? My view is our politicians, they say things for their own ego. They go and stand on platform, they speak as and when they like. So our government, I agree with the ECR. The 448 million could have done a lot of things. You were Ghana. My view is that to avoid the 1 year where the once the ECR using, instead of doing demonstrations, go to the court and test it. I don't think that any amount, I don't think the EC will change their mind because every day demonstration, they'll be fed up or go for demonstration. I want a demonstration. Yeah, you can do demonstration, but our advice is there, use full time. Not fuck around. Let rather get your people ready.
Again, you didn't come to channel AC Hanum saying one of the major reasons EC MK were almost statement on the issue and they said the current voters register now bloated even after the auditing of that register. As an poster with the elections, do you feel voters register are bloated still?
Oh yes, it is bloated in terms of the percentage of, if you look at the population census of 2010, and if you add the percentage growth in the voters register is bloated. And we bloater are blowing the political parties at any given time. According to the law, voting day will be back. Because in the 90s, we started, I had an NGO, which I stopped it because there was a conflict between the NGO and the work I was doing. And here we started a lot of conservation in this country. In 1996, one of our guys called one of the constituencies in. No, registration will wait for registration. The political party don't take it serious. No way now. Abu friend or Ben, 10 years ago, we down the 12. And a registration official say, now we did 10 years, it's 12, but why there SAD 18? And also, Papa say, maybe 18. And also, Papa was here. Election officials are on my do. Okay, no, be no dinner hall. Second, no con, all can on your friend. But the can register now. But if the political parties had done their job, they would have objected for that name not to go on. That be less than all the issue on your day. Instead, I bet you in your organize the wire registration now. For one call base every police station. You're there. Look, because we're brutal. You used whatever advantage for the elections. To all registration garbage in, garbage out. Let your people go to the place at their point of registration. And then let them prevent these things. They prevent the name being on with proof of age in Azar. It makes it easier. Because on day of voting, Abu Fabia going to wait 12 years. You cannot repeat. It's against the law to prevent that person from voting.
Uncle Ben, I'm pay where do I say there and you actually come on.
You almost don't say.
Ben Efson, or your senior journalist, or Maimu, or your poster, or some your managing editor for the Daily Dispatch newspaper, and pay Wabeka and Sat and natural common. As my year came on, Unya and Nanka wants to see a better one, and I see a better one, or a semi so. For a WhatsApp, and I say a voice note, sending your WhatsApp number, no a 020 2222067. Voice note no make sure say under 1 minute. Udin any baby I was sending voice note in every na udin nyina aka ho. Twitter so obetimi follow your Twitter at Happy FM Ghana. Na Twitter with the hashtag HMS ebeba your home. Facebook we account na at Happy989FM. Instagram at Happy989FM. YouTube so obetimi share live YouTube at Happy TV. Ray, I will come to you shortly. Mamin Janen Fati Hombra Sisia, because I've given you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Fati, so far we've gotten two people in your modern Como, Bernard Mona, Unimo position that, and Mr. Ben Efsin. What do you make of it?
Two things. Also, when Bernard Mona or Casano, or make key points be, I think, say, if I any sort of crack, or say, or call meeting, no.
Yeah.
When they questioned the EC, why are you here new voters register? They didn't have any. It was at the meeting, no, and research be no mobile say, no, research na, the reasons naba. So that is a hasty decision. To say, Raymond Eka say, even with the year 2012, no.
Yeah.
We didn't really consult. We didn't look at into machine. I say then how long will the machine work for? Idea way the bena say and I say obsolete. I would have to need a new one. And I'm seeing say we are likely to do the same thing. Isi ababeka say sika omude repair. Now I renew database in software near the no. It's the same as the here new register no into no. It's all fair and good into and one no. So whether we do a new one or not, we are still going to spend that amount of money.
Fati, hold on 1 second for me. Na many Professor Nino Dona ending Como, former General Secretary of the CPP. He's also a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana. Na menje nadwene ewo enkoma yedi anopai. Prof, good morning. Akwaba.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. Fisher, about to you, sir.
I think compared to you.
Prof, anopai yedi nkomo afa electoral commission any new voters register womo ese omo pese omo ye. Political parties ni be sorry etia the decision by the electoral commission. From your experience over the years, what's your take on this matter?
Well, you see, I heard Bernard Mona, I heard my brother Ben Efsin and others, and you can crystallize the whole thing into one thing: lack of proper consultation by the EC, because the issues that the political parties raised and the detailed technical information that the Deputy Chair Operations, Mr. Samuel Tete, provided at the press conference, I think the 31st or so, one will ask, why didn't you get all these things to discuss with the parties? That's a simple thing. Because if you read the technical details and they are plausible, then the parties obviously will come to a common stand. Because one, they gave response on the fact that the parties were concerned that you don't conduct registration of voters in an election year. Then he said that in 2004, it was an election year that they compiled a new register. In April 2012, they compiled a new register. They said the parties raised the issue about ECOWAS protocol that the call for a no registration in an election year. And according to Mr. Tete, it was rather if you amend the law, you can't amend an electoral law within 6 months to the election, and they don't intend doing that. Then the 10-year period and issues have come with respect to the 10 years, what they call census, one due this year. He said 95. When 87, we had a register when we started with the district assemblies. And in 95, a new register was compiled, 7-year period. 2004, 9-year period. And then 2012, 8-year period. You understand? Then on the cost element, he raised issues about a more cost-effective, because consultants, including the firm that was behind the current biometric register, voter register that we have, together with other consultants and the IT personnel of the EC, they assess everything and realize that the current system is obsolete. It is a deduplication of an adjudication of and verification of the current system, and even replaceable parts. And he gave a figure of about, I think, 2 million every year for warranty, etc. Compelling convincing technical details. And the letter that they claimed they had from the IT firm, that is the STL, and its what do you call it, a partner, HSB, he didn't, I don't know what that stands for, was in May, 11th May 2018. So you are the commission, you are in charge of everything, you have an oversight responsibility, you have a forum where you interact with parties. May. When did you call the meeting? For me, that's where the flaw is. And to cut a long story short, I think the advice by my brother Ben Efsin is what the parties need to examine. And indeed, Mr. Tete made an emphatic commitment that the EC will engage stakeholders, they will deepen the interaction so that this exercise becomes a smooth sailing one. I think it is about now, you see. And for me, I will make a personal plea to the chairperson, because it was these same political parties that collaborated and cooperated with her think tank IEA that led to the Transition Law, and played a very important role, including presidential debates, all with the collaboration of the EC. In fact, at that time, I was on the political parties platform. We even raised a point that the IEA was overstepping its bounds, because many things that the Electoral Commission had a legal mandate to do, the IEA, through the collaboration with the political parties, had taken that matter up. But at that time, you had a chairperson, Dr. Farijan, who felt that, look, all hands on deck, everybody should play a role. And that was how we have consolidated the gains on this democratic experiment. And so she must also recognize that political parties are not the only stakeholders, but they are the major stakeholders, because it's a multi-party democracy that we are practicing. If parties don't engage themselves in the election, they don't field candidates. Although independent candidates can stand, we wouldn't have any constitutional democracy. And so for me, these are the critical things that we need to examine.
Prof, before we end our conversation, in as much as, the point you made is clear, there's already suspicion that is brewing. Immediately there is suspicion, then trust becomes a matter of concern.
That's a matter of fact.
Yes.
A matter of fact.
So then how do they come back to the table to talk when the political parties, some of them, are suspicious of the motives of the EC?
You know my position already with the political class. Let me term them that way. That they are still bewildered by the current developments in the country. And it is the same. We are in an election year. You see the promises upon promises. And I'm saying that God forbid, one day the system will slap them in the face, bam. Because it has been that cycle. When you are in power, there's nothing wrong with the system. When you are out of power, then everything is wrong, etc. And the parties have not come to a consensus that, look, it is for our common good, because nobody stays there forever. You understand? The issue about cost is legitimate. And when you have a whole majority leader making that point, I don't think it's a joke. You understand that, if you don't compile a new register, then NDC will forever be, I don't know the way he phrased it, but it's like if the current register will favor NDC, and if you compile a new one, then they will never come to power. Why make this loose statement with due respect to his position anyway? You understand? The political parties must know that this country is beyond their individual cluster of a membership base. And the challenges that we face as a country, talk to the ordinary people. And I keep saying that, look, take MPP, they should show us the number of registered members that they have. Ask NDC, the two major parties, how many registered members do they have? Over the last 6-7 elections, we've had nearly 10 million people voting. So we are just politically conscious because it's our civic responsibility. But they don't own the members who turn out to vote on election day. They are registered members. You understand? So they should think beyond. And that is why we are where we are, where MPs who know that it's their mandate to bring about social development or physical development will go and be promising the moon. That's what is happening. And then we go through another cycle. When you say district assemblies are the focal points of the development at the local level, what do the assemblies do? So there are many challenging issues, and we pray that this democracy survives. But political parties are the torchbearers who should really lead for this transformation or reformation.
Prof, we are grateful you made time to speak to us today, sir.
Thank you very much.
And that's Professor Nino Douna joining us this morning on the show. He's a senior lecturer, University of Ghana, and the former General Secretary of the CPP. That brings us to 3 minutes after 8. I will jump back to Fati for some wrap-up comments, and then come back to you, Raymond, for your wrap-up comments. And quickly, we'll go for a commercial break. When we come back, we will do some trending issues, and then we activate our phone lines for some few voice notes. Fati, now we'll make a point beyond Sana, me kone opinion akodi inkomo.
We should know that the decision seems hasty. If we don't take care, we'll make the same mistakes. I will say, turn new equipment with new register. And again, no, whether we like it or not, no, per the law, no, EC, no, is able to say we need a new register, regardless of what other stakeholders may think. New register, there isn't much we can do or say about that.
But Ray, when you went to do the fact check from the EC's document which they released, if you read down, I think page 14.
Okay.
Page 14. I think, sir, sometimes you color conversation, no, edudo. Because the EC in its own statement, it's not too lengthy. Can I go ahead, sir?
Yes. Sure.
So it says that EC has been questioned if there's the need for a new biometric voter management system. The response is yes. The current kits and solutions are obsolete. They are end of life and can no longer be supported by the original equipment manufacturers. The immediate past vendors of the solution proposed that the Commission replaces all the equipment and also upgrade the data center. This was rehashed by the consultants we engaged to audit our systems. Now, they go on to say that it is important to emphasize that whether we compile a new voters register or not, there is the need to acquire new equipment to replace the obsolete kit acquired in 2011. It is therefore important to delink the procurement of equipment and kits from the registration exercise. So the EC in their statement sets the records there. That there are two issues we are mixing together. There's an issue of procurement, and then there is a secondary issue of whether we should have a new register or not. But so far, it looks like
because they said it is at the same cost. It's like sometimes auto attire for fra. Me say me to attire. I look at straight dress. I hear be cost. Now I try up and down. I hear be cost me. If up and down no is almost the same price as straight dress. Now metal straight dress no. And you feel that maybe far down. I'm compare up account.
Okay.
So what they are saying is that whether there is a new register or not, they will buy new equipment, and the new equipment are almost at the same cost. Until then, I am for new register in count na BBI for. That is where the issue.
The issue is.
Well, again, I think that the EC ne person say, look, you cannot separate, in as much as you can talk about hardware, and then you talk about the database in a different sentence. No, all of them have to work together. All of them have to work, because the database is controlled by a server, which has a software. The hardware definitely will need the software to work. So, in as much as we are talking about procurement of hardware, you have to talk about the database as well, because clearly, I think that what is happening here is that you cannot use the database as it is without upgrading it.
Well, that is a bit too far-fetched, because you see, database is a language. The language that gathers that data.
The database center.
Yes, sir. And I'm about Raymond. That software that is acquiring that information, it can be rewritten to be an upgraded version of that data. It doesn't necessarily mean, sir, because there's an upgrade of that data, there can't be a sync. Raymond, are you getting the point I'm making?
Yeah.
There can't be a sync, because you see, for instance, and this is the argument I've been thinking in my head all this while whilst we are having this conversation. And they say, say easy betimi make the point to say indeed baby ababedru no and who ko hia say ya upgrade your systems no because me phone ya me use yi nyame pa ochina nko no wo mo de second one beba with let's say 5G because we are 4G with let's say 5G with 12 gigabytes of RAM with 128 whatever. It is an advanced version of my phone that I'm using, and so if I want a faster phone to use for my work, I'm obliged to go for that phone. But it is not compulsory. So my phone. Number 2 is the point to say, my information I must store was our phone. We say no. So me upgrading my system. No, the new phone which is the 5G with 12 gigabytes of RAM. Would I be able to use that same database? If there's a possibility to use that same database, then we don't have a problem.
What they are saying here is that it would be difficult to use that same database, and that is where they are calling for.
I don't think the EC has stated that.
No, I think
it would be difficult for them to use the database
it's subtle.
with the new.
It's subtle. In page 14, because like say, additionally, we will acquire a new data center with robust state-of-the-art services and equipment at the cost of $6 million, instead of upgrading the existing one at a cost of $15 million.
This is what they were saying. They were saying that initially, what we are running now, the system we are running now, is being controlled by a company. Okay, it is sitting in somebody's, let's say,
STL
office. But they want a situation whereby they would have direct access to every database we gather. But the question about syncing the database with the software does not arise here. It is for them or for us to have a technical person, an IT person, and what this and say we are saying, can we have a software? Because software a coding, a language. Only pan be creating. If I say be our software no code in HTML, and I say code in JavaScript. Now say obia ono so betimi code a higher version of your current software with the same JavaScript or HTML. I don't think it's a problem. After all, it's technology. What I say? It's like migrating your WordPress website from let's say theme forest to another one. It is the database which you back up, and then when you install your new theme, then you have that new fused into it. But a complex issue.
But Sammy, again, the EC themselves have identified, say, based on registration in the past, there are certain anomalies that need to be corrected.
Okay.
With regards to taking pictures. Yeah. Tanyama we are said to Mrs. Salmo because they are finding it difficult to embark on no verification, no vote because of issues with the thumb. So there's if you embark on a new registration exercise, it gives you two options.
But you see,
the thumbprint and the facial recognition.
It looks like you have an understanding of IT kakra. Do you have I'm some small understanding. But you see, the thing is, producer, my just 5 minutes. Clearly, we say 300. You see, most of this technology we are talking about, facial recognition technology like this, I have facial technology on our phones. Yeah. There can be instances where people's identifications can just access your phone just like that. Just like that. Yeah. So you see, the most foolproof, okay, bulletproof way of authenticating the identity of an individual is this.
Nobody has
fingerprints. Nobody.
But over time, things happen.
Yes, but facial. If you realize, even the Google phones, okay, which were using a lot of the facial recognition softwares on their phones, recently, most of the phones they are churning out, facial recognition is not there. Because you see, so I think that we will need an IT expert.
The question is, without foolproof verification of the thumb, how does a voter now vote? If you want to stick to the no verification, no vote, as the LI stipulates, what the EC is trying to say here is that, look, in order to avoid people voting without being verified, it will be important for us to embark on the process again.
But you know there are alternative verification processes available at the polling center. You know that. The only problem with that is a bit cumbersome.
It's not captured by the.
Sebia uwaba oba betuaba momo ye kabro fododo sebia uwaba oba betuaba na okay machine is okay hu fingerprint no Isaac ewo honom papa nsusu wo honom they identify you as a member of that constituency obetimi atoaba no the law allows for you to vote.
Yeah.
The people who have gone there to even without the ID cards, they're able to vote. What's the American say? And see, I think say a conversation I was exhausting more near IT person. Honestly, my bet now so far that is the bone of contention. And conversation now no pay no. Yeah, happening now. But yeah, can say now no. Me so yento nka anope. Your WhatsApp line 02022222067 02022222067. Miento nka anope na yendi enkomo no ye kwakwaje enkrato abasisi a ye ba Fati edede ekoso ewo social media mu ede bebre anope yenkombra
Ghana money. A mass wedding ambassador na make say. Afiwe promise that one say. Utia 500 Ghana cedi before former Happy FM. Ma we yiri wedding gun. Na one kasa what you see top and down. Ne who see for the wedding yeka. Wedding invitation manko for yeka. Wedding cake yenka. Kai say forms near 500 Ghana cedi pe. Honeymoon yenka. We tell ambedam yenka. Sounds so na afiwe. Best couple. You be fly home the Omako to buy. Package when you our mass wedding 2020 from now to 17th of January. No before forms. Our Happy FM. So won't be a free 020-2222-069 and 0244-257-667 0249-507429. Happy FM. ANJ Nkwa.
Why do you drink Awake Purified Drinking Water and approved by the FDA?
Happy times are here. Starting from the 6th of January, Happy 98.9 FM is bringing you exciting programming as part of its rebranding at the following times every weekday. Got the all-new Happy Morning Show from 5:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Happy Sports will come your way from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The award-winning social-religious program in Simply will start from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Your most authoritative political show, Epa Wadabain, comes your way from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. The all-new exciting sports start and highlights show, Wambutu Sports, starts from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. The award-winning Ayiko Drive with DG Advisor comes your way from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. This new season promises you nothing but the best. Make a date with us. Happy FM, ANJ Nkwa.
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along.
We are back 16 after 8, Monday morning, 6th of January 2020. Welcome, Happy FM. Yamwakwa Safi and now do a feeding about to Hanum say, what could you ask if you must dream? Meaning, say, Obey Juma Dane, I'm on my Ghana at Tumpo, Missile, when him and yet said, not Obi or Baby or Nubinia, in Sao Sobiano or free one chair or the BB for any free one chair airco. Summary is now time for trending issues. Now, Fati and for the social media for and a pay one more air chicken come one more when you say a piano, one for a Maya and a pay, but I'll see me chino. Muchino, ayo, anya bia ya che Raymond dia. Ayo che Raymond dia.
Ano pay.
Messi Muchino ya che o dia no.
Muchino dia heavy.
Oh, that
social media.
The king is naked.
Muchino is why naked.
I'm naked.
And some cost was social media pa.
Okay.
I pick a few. You bet me aka ho asem. One say oil producing countries or more group. No control prices in the
yeah.
Sesiano, Ghana, any Ivory Coast, almost some person, Ghana and Ivory Coast, they produce a little over 60% of the world's cocoa. Into no almost no person boom no form a cartel. Into almost control prices in all those things. Already no, they are talking some person $400 be a car, the current price of 2,500 per metric tons and all they can. and our consumers of cocoa in the countries are export economy because on send your oil and we see our oil about prices cost 20 on better petrol and see almost true say if they are able to form this cartel a be affected cocoa be affected chocolate and all the things are in a free cocoa munting for a do come up and a year of return Ghana a year of return amount for baby burgers a very good town a moons and baby the ayane the na efrafra and no Nigeria it take queue and I say as people almost some real idea no but I mean when say almost take queue so I be news take queue
and on the queue na
the amount of they training names
no
almost they free almost no Nigeria they say a door of return don't say a slave trading no more door of no return almost a door of return and a benin so see gates of return and na here who said door no a door ben na gate no so a gate ben sa amount for in fact almost 3 countries me say copy the and
but I can't be before a year with the year of return no it speaks to how successful and well acclaimed and received it was and I think say as much as my nya kwenya fan kubino but the feedback I got on social media no say it was very good and if other countries want to replicate at and I think say it's in the right
your family back your family member back Akwesi Ajiman is the brain behind this whole
that's nice
we are so proud of that Trump or Brew Nipa back who face impeachment say dear Iran has almost say Obio makes me Trump head abro on $80 million because Endra there was an airstriker Iran for military commander and so replacing a new person and not say here Trump $80 million well makes me the abro disaster into World War III and Trump and Iran and a train boom about the same
and then the problems never know because you see over our region now Iran found they wield a lot of control and power a bit affected petrol and some and diesel and some now the fight against terrorism imagine say Al-Qaeda who is now going to stop them Ebema will be quite ideas okay now look if we can't deal with America as a big nation as they are let's find the terrorists then what happens but anyway your team
Trump so no
on the way over tweet
can be now Ghana another issue trend I don't know whether to say it on a later note and pastor Bia waka say omo instruments near there were sorry no and say you to moka and no some baby can was say obi it's different say sorry no we a member and our boy instruments to say we are ushering near the and I will be anti-alka but churches be ni member be or boy instruments or because or any yamiduma so go for Sunday on better now on boy instruments on so bad sorry and they also as why employing because church is serious business into church your business also we employ you be to me and also yasema and go for can was
sorry ben
sorry no not mean said but in the video need trend
and it means me corner sorry so me instrumentalist and as me graphic design means me
so we a member why sorry na wako it's who volunteer say me say obi volunteer say me say me usher me say me cleaner me say me and no volunteer but wako fro be some brand on boy instruments na fajo collection there also and I will say it to me
also you see another problem no
God
why not
onyame adwuma de what you say you find so me website designer no ma build a website e be a cost no build website akwa be 3,000 Ghana cedis now so ka say okay minia o de 500 Ghana cedis for website here I'll build mine what is the big deal about it after all me one ma omo masia me hwe omo and there's no problem with that but where the church does not want to pay anything
no I think the church no so be kase on say enyame adwuma na ye because me say no me bought drum set pa until me tia sorry bought drum set
osofu nyame adwuma na ye ba so so tia na kana
then me kwa on say talent o
And I saw Sofo, Yetiana Kana in Josopha.
Sofo, dear.
Sofo,
so did you.
Even the language you see and put a hand for. So say, Omo instrument was sorry now we just go away from 4.
Oh wow, he said that.
Son, okay, no, hand for.
I agree.
Oh, Debbie.
Oh, but
now
and you are indirectly telling me something from 4.
Finally, more power. Your friend is in series or we TV so open power who shot ghosts and also trend because main character no you're shooting no as to whether you're shooting and panicra I'm not sure yet and also trend they say why a shooting
but maybe
suspecting
Tasha. Yeah, I'm suspecting
the ban on cry friend is Tariq.
No, that boy is troublesome.
I say with your minimum.
Say honor and the king becomes naked now.
How do you naked?
Honor the king becomes naked. See us in chambers. See us in chambers. Who say you should not advert be or I say Ghana key 215. It was a lotto
Obianida.
It's not from me. I buy
on the trending issues, let me just add this final one. Hashtag 2020 and also trend there. Amount for about their new year resolutions. Okay. More tweet at us or more K Junior 10 or say I have always had plans of furthering my education and I think this is the right year for me to do so. Hashtag 2020 goals. Malik Ofori say my 2020 goal is to complete the goals of 2019 that I should have completed in 2018. But the problems and the trending issues in ABC.
No text messages in the send or 020-2222-067. And I share on Facebook and Instagram at Happy989FM and also Twitter at Happy FM Ghana. My India is also CCA. So we'll cast a video in mobile da. And yeah, a one happy morning show. I will happy 98.9 FM. Brighten your morning with good music. Information, news, interviews, inspiration, fun, and education. Your radio just came alive.
And that's music coming from Kwesi P, bringing us to 27 minutes after 8, live on Happy 98.9 FM. Monday morning, Yamamuina Kwaba, and a pet in Comodino Emu Ayadin, Inayananki Twaso. But this part of the program, no, I'll need Raymond and Fati na yendi home come because we need to sensitize our listeners about your new programming formats now year running on so that they will know the roles they are supposed to play about no year program now. And it's from Summary 8 about 30 minutes of the program no for the listener of the show. About 30 minutes of the time no for the listener of the show. And the area or problem with electricity. Area or problem with ensue. Or problem with aquine. Or problems baby area. Wunya nanka. And the how do radio new radio station biananka. One more count some amount. One more flow MC and as our district chief executive say about the same area aquine bonesa. And as a member of parliament now come up beside the questions at the amount. Nenso radio station bia mouse aquina no. Ye more aquina. O problems are warning no producer. Say among formal messages in fire WhatsApp number. And I say among friend number no. Let me know so that we'll know what to do. Whilst I consult Isaac, I think say Fati, you can take over with what the segment is all about, so that people would know and send their concerns to us whilst we are dealing with the issues.
And you know, area assembly cost a very developmental issue, social issue, BPR. Yama Akonya say obey to me afre and I obey to me sending a voice note and I was sending a WhatsApp message say ebia me area le doom light be 3 days near embaye and I say akwan no ye and I say akronfo eba area hadodo send u catch ya na yeso yabo hu de ro ama solutions a wo hia no omo de abro enti sa segment no eya wo dia Ufra me pa show enya politics asem yen beka say NDC ayo say na PPP ayo say na PNC ayo say na CPP ayo say issues na ekoso wo baby a wotie anase wo community anase wo neighborhood e bia wo community ne kra nkola ampe school ko ho eno say no issue serious issue obetumi aka na ya share solutions a ebetumi afa ama bibia akoso fine e wo community enti lines na obefre anase obe WhatsApp e 02022222067 ube WhatsApp here was our number ne so patch your men free and I say your voice notes 1 minute and I say 45 seconds and money nye bebre ka 170 awa na yembo e wo show ne so ma ube to me so afre 0302254856 and I say 0302254857 na dia e so e wo community and our neighborhood no wo dia tudwa
Ente dear Fatipa Kano, Mekano Brofom. What we are trying to do with this segment, we are bringing radio to the community. We are allowing community to be part of what we do here on the show. So if you have issues within your community where you live, if it's a problem of roads, if it's a problem of water, if your power supply has been cut for some time, if sanitation services has been a problem in the area for some time, you just give us a call. You call the numbers that we are putting out, or you send a voice note 02022222067, and then you voice out your consent. You send a voice note via WhatsApp, and on the show you would hear us discussing that particular issue. We can speak to your MCE, we can speak to your DC, we can speak to who is supposed to be responsible for what, and definitely we won't say your problems will be solved. It's about bringing radio to the community, bringing the radio to your homes, bringing the radio wherever you are in Ghana.
Thank you very much, Raymond, for the beautiful translation work done this morning. Near Twaso and some of your phone lines now are to move for the next 5 to 10 minutes. But I was some chia opinion be and no pay because what tear me a check. My main chia and no pay and sana me move on na your phone lines. But my man say phone lines no and from Mao. Your number is near 0302254856. And 0302254857. Me enti wonka ene anope na me sisi dia say wo ba na say wo be NDC, wo be NPP, wo be PPP, wo be CPP sema e be you afra homa ne mum. Me enti de ekoso wo area nka wonya ya na nka mpanyimfo e ka ho asem e de ama wo. Ma memfa enchia kese emfama opanyini bi a otie me pa na anope menchia no opanyini okay your friend Mr. Peter Anani Mensa. Mr. Peter Anani Mensa, he's one of my fans and he's been listening to me all morning. Opanyini emo official apartment do asipi nsi no pay what ya abedu sample benso. Your numbers dey active 0302254856 and 0302254857. Your first caller yen saka no ahoma no so pay. Hello Opanyini, good morning. Yes, I'm in here. Nyame ado yon kwa na so e.
Nyame ado me mo akwa ban so be ba happy 98.9 FM. Only abama watch 9 na what the topic here with ja. And no na nka me gidi why you want to be no ma yan so ya kire again kaka e bia bibi coach ma nka yan so yeti me kire bia e be ko se se isi asem a mo kai e da makoma so se me so me dey make be. And I can no, and yet for you be phone lines no according to your regular format, Nadia, and later on, but because and yen first day in Tino, and ye disancomoy, but Minyayan Kauka Potamus assembly and community. Why? It's true. It's true that assembly a yana da. And then it was all over the deal, and the enemy the name mistake, Raymond. And then Fati Motia boy to man, Nancy, Yabamas, when you tell Yamuya and someone who call but was the can but them someone whom you have been watching my Malcolm and Namaka, my main child from 124. Now, main child, Samuel, Namin Casa, Million Patamami, where I dance to my. Yet the Yamia MC now, Abano. Rosa, original. Yes, friend is said, you need to home. I would dance to my name, but the Rosa air costume, you need to home. Omun Cosmo Munya Sama, and now call. Otojo, Shabu, any Opetequia, yes, also Aquani in Semuguso, Oman and Harry, like any content them na Dansuma and Patamu, because Oba me impact more the Rose and the MC, you know, where Tia Bon Homodin, I and Papa, never much from that's mine. The Division of the Assassin. Piao.
Many of the CPL pay so Beka Yensa Ewa Homanis 0302-254-856 0302-254-857. Me until one can anopay your opinion Kasibi away anima yen bedin komo afa one kasa wa braba obebo afi 2020 ehom. Meaning say bebre na mokwa sorry so nyamemwamo 2020 mo year resolutions bebre but normally ye kon ye resolutions na implementation ya kwaye bibia wo ntene oba be church akwan a ye befa so a 2020 ye new year resolutions ye make ye ni nyina no ye betimi afufele ni nyina e wo show no so ena no pen obi abeka yensa e wo ahoma no so me enko ahoma no so. Hello, good morning. Okay, I'm say onipa no antimi engina 0302-254-856 0302-254-857. Yepesi yete onka ene anopai ansa ne ne Mr. Kofi Ajay or your motivational speaker. You know edin come about afi or resolutions how yeah and how you can see to their fulfillment ewo afi yimu. Enti mi ante onka na yentoa jumedi. So next caller about ahomane so. Hello, good morning.
Your call has been put on hold.
Oh, or they had to hold.
Wait.
Or they had to hold. Or they had to hold. I'm saying onipano antimi engineer ahomane so. You better try back me no ahwe. Se yen san ko bia na ye ne opanyini ahye enkomo twetwe no. Asina me count nyame pochina you better enkomo twetwe no so. Hello, good morning.
Your call has been put on hold.
I'm saying nipano ba ahomane so na they had to on hold. Problematic akra. Yeah, WhatsApp line here 02022222067. Meaning say comments be about yeah WhatsApp line. So my main kind be ansana yene opini ashe enkomotwetwe no ase anopay. On WhatsApp, this message from Kwablavio Pokwasi Bengazi. He says, according to A+, NPP government is engulfed with thieves, so Ghanaians must learn a lesson and vote for John Dramani Mahama massively in 2020. This one says, let it be known to John Mahama and the NDC that in the unlikely event that Mrs. Lodina Mahama, wife of JM, is made the EC boss, the NDC will still lose the 2020 election miserably because they are highly incompetent. That's from Abrewa. From Bubuashi. We say, good morning. My name is Kwame Kotoko. My uncle passed away 3 years ago. We have to go by the logic of cleaning his name. Will still be there, so I'm for a new voters register. Thank you for your submission this morning. This one from Akins Ofori from Kibi says, good morning and a blessed new year. In fact, every new year under this government is a curse to Ghanaians as our leader always starts the new year with lies and inconsistencies. What are we hearing today concerning the commissioning of the ambulances? I was shocked when I heard on one of your sister stations this morning from a strong NPP panelist confirming that there is only 96 ambulances available in the country. That's your message you sent through this morning on the show. I'm saying Yensaka Obi Awa Homano. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Apani. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, boss. Good morning.
Opening guest, Martin.
Yeah, I call Fisher Panso. So.
Yeah, Fisher.
But you didn't maybe our free.
Oh, we did the Abroa, because of the Buasi.
Abroa Manonko.
Most of our kind of message now, tree no money on the Munsia. On the happy year, tree no year anymore. Opening no kind of quiz out. We shall kind of quiz out. Your Malcolm, our your latest film, our your Carbell, our your Kanesi Market, our your Vodafone, our your companies in the industrial area, and so in your municipal. We shall more try and watch them now, or more municipal. It's a development, it's been mastered a panel. If you can something for the common money, I'm a kind of south, especially Bubuasi Army War. Said the Bay, and your municipal, no, or kind of south. Nanka, Yapan Fuya, a war way, and in your Manema, and Koya, because of any, we should name me Buboya. Nina, I didn't name a papa, on the minute to my friend. You could come more than some or kind of south. In fact, Nami Raho, we should a near market, the Kanesi market, to care the Bray, Vodafone Ghana, to care the Bray,
will your friends VIP new plan station your was said in prejudice baby a 2 ball Omuma municipal no ebi mra okan kwe south said ye beya ye zure timi ade ye ho na nyema nyina ye kama afi akwa wiye die eye Emmanuel Akroma Akai eye mo ayi metia no na afi mi ameyere nso metia ni pa yiwa fa me okunso
me do asipi adapai se oba ahoma no so enne abo 840 pepepe aha na your phone segment no ye di beti na ye ni Mr. Kofi Ajay atwetwe I have more time. I don't have more time. Okay, all right. So, many Mr. Kofi Ajay, Between Komo and Sana, Yadi Jumediano Abba every year and Anope Mr. Kofi Ajay or your motivational speaker. And T Mamano Aquaba, Abba Jumedian. So, Penina Aquaba?
Yeah.
Now, I know what to say.
You saw
You could come back. What about you say the FO? Maybe the Minyana can drink a woman send your audience. My ya, it's me, a fufuno. I was a mere day. Ray Casaguma, Mammy.
We say no. Oh, a chess, we are liquid. Sika
say, Odiania white
son.
This is cow
high maintenance since he said,
I said, the only issue because what is darker than
I'm in praying. How do you know back a crowd?
We have a kubit. I know, and this is a man,
and as he can never, and a bedroom is so.
And your opinion. Oh, qua, so won't be cross out. Some may say, and we shall have a goose with you. I come opening.
Yeah,
not be able to. You could come, Yame. I did young quite change, dear. Nanny, it's more on the side. Yes, I feel for more. You see me say na ya brunya no ya chele ye no na ya body yen na resolution so akwa bibi kakra nim say sorry for the normally the fasting and a share afina say but see ye share say kasi ye resolutions are what should inform us say when ye gina so adia ye resolutions.
Okay, medas ni di kan and mechia a tifo and wana wati yanka bia ya danya me ase se ene so yenya this opportunity na so the wobisa question no afibia so opportunity kese pa e be se nyame adom ana afena ko ana ababeto nipa bebre try say bianka omo betumi ehunu ene on the CC but they have not been given the opportunity. Nti nyame ya adom na se unya saa akwanya ya na kire se nyame abehwe opa na so de wo ka no wo se no ma ben na say inform yen when it comes to making a resolution ade ba ko here pa say number 1 say uhunu ba bia wokọ nti me ba na me dwene ade bi ho wo hwe air flight play money ade a omutu a ansana obetu free airport no as I say, or planning or destination. As I say, with the matter of follow, they have to be clearly knows that this is where you are going. And so first of all, the destination has to be defined. After you defining where you want to go, and then you also have to add a friend say route. I'll be faster. Over to me, I achieve sadian. And you know, afibia kwa ya. They are meta catching microphone say. Who say? I feel no 365 days. 52 weeks, 12 months. A year. Adia ba ko my friend the common gift. I nyankopon de money pa bia. A common gift in the sense that yene ye ba wiase no ebi so wa, ebi mo tia. Ebi ye kokko, ebi ye tutum. Ma kra de bi mo shape, ebi mo so no ai bi ho. Nanso ohwe time onyankopon de manipa obiala so 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 wa so ye kokko so ye tutum so ho fe so ho ye fe so kuskus ya wo akurase ya wo krum ye ma obi 24 hours sa 24 hours and said obi se use no and no na be kire di pakora we enti nyame adom wa ma ye another 365 days 12 months wa ma ye another opportunity every blessed day 24 hours ya o hwe se ye de be ye bibi. So first of all no you need to define maybe a person, and you can only define where you want to go if you know who you really are. So I keep telling people, say, no manufacturer will create a product and guests say this product. So before production, there should be a will, there should be a purpose, there should be an intention. So there was an intent for each and every human being. All of us came with and for purpose. There's a reason for every human being. Whether you believe or you don't believe is another thing to discuss. But what I want to say is that Obiala or Nipa, our Tias so now don't buy, say Yamena don't buy. There was a reason. There was an intention that informs your birth. So your birth became necessary because of that intent. Therefore, you were born to fulfill an assignment. And you know, I feel now you're no year. Time why you're fulfill that assignment. So first of all, every year and say your life now say your first course, second course, third course, so first of all, I say baby and Yankupon, and I said you would need the bus as a brabe. And to define who we are, and then you back up. A quaben of the first will be do.
Now, Madam, who say, winning Yankupon Pesame, Madam.
What was a question? Very critical, but it's possible. The entire possible, and say, I keep telling people, say, Yankupon, you're too smart, you're so good, say. Your catcher Obiazo me or true on for my mamma and for my papa. Oh, mamma, no papa is smart and mutimu. What teacher for your smart and mutimu. But one casadia or true guacum. So there's a test in the scripture that says Proverbs 19:21. Was it there are so many plans in man's heart, but it takes the purpose of God to prevail. It talks about three things. Number one, it has to do with the purpose of God is more important than the plans of man. The second one has to do with the purpose of God is more powerful than the plans of man. And the last one has to do with the purpose of God precedes the plans of what it means is that answer na yebe start taking the car to do baby or do university whatever. Now there was a purpose. So that purpose is being written in your heart. It keep a back until sakusi dabu. And a matter of creating awareness. People need to know because most of us doesn't even know. Say we are the crazy baby. So who we are, and then you back up and see there are some steps here will be follow because of time. Many source a bit mad because more detail. Yeah. And you know, going forward and say, chance we can come down and then explain steps a bit more follow a bit me the entire or so. And you who say we are. I feel what back up say if free da who is out and could see that will be your friend vision. And I call purpose say purpose is a vision in pictures. In pictures and what you know. And to whom we are a free the Uhumian, ni baby a Wujan, your friend planning. And I don't know. Oh, found you mamma say, oh, 40, may want to know 30 or 40 over 40 years. Yeah. So you plan the next 40 years, baby, I'm my brother. Until I feel be a la, ye, dinner, not to film. Say, I feel we may ye no more win. Hannah may say, Hannah me free. So Hannah may can be say, first of all, no, before you are never going to you have to review your last year. Goals are set itself as a achieve. Yeah. You have to do review. Be more utumi be more went to me anye. They went to me anye, I didn't went to me anye. And I do to me and then a boy more to me. So the brew, then a bit more improve. So you need to do that analysis. After the second thing you have to do is say, I feel what to was goals for this year. Say this year 2020 I deal when I'm a person me. So we need to do the medical can now and you should do no breaking in goals. And the Hannah make be say, what set goals for the year now? A normal bear 9 and a year yes say Obia go a bit more capture. Number 1, or personal life. Number 2, financial life. And then number 3, your career. And then number 4, relationship.
Mommy, and simplify conversation in mind because of a brain tea. Okay. Na boy, me pejuma. Me pejuma. 31st, and I'm kobo home pie, so you mammy manye. What do I do?
Very well. Ope Juma. And you are being open, and we are wanting. In the first place, you need to know a Juma crop person here. A be an person here, Juma a bank. And now be a person here, Juma company be. And now one cast up person. So, as I say, a clear cut here. So, person here, Juma a bind there. First of all, so it be a so qualification. So, what could school now could take diploma or whatever. And now, person company the same. And so full. We are when you saw documents and so prepare CV. Now shall see 200 more. Say a few years ago, so you move from one company to another company, searching for job. You write applications. You go there and then you tell them, say, me per se, me no more juma. Bia, me to me was this case, me to me no more juma. You put your application across. Now, all them pie bar touch day. You're gonna for a year for the beer and member boy. I found out why I for interview. You go for it. Say, oh, no, you go from one company to another company. But me interest a pie and ka one kasa obeshe ni womb. If you say only put bio basa should be added, the Juma by your system, no, and now you school and I say we are taught, we are not taught to become, but we are taught to fit in. And in your school within your diploma and certificates, and we search for jobs based on what we have been taught. And this is why in your Juma and your friend unemployment. But only put bio basa should be came with M4. Who gift? There is a potential strap within you. There is an endowment. So you don't need to look far. You need to look within. One kasa umu ahwodene skills be na wo ahwodene be na wo ede na wo ye ho ade na uhunu saa no mani nyina afa wato bo ase atena ase plan say okay, this is my gift. This is that potential samewo. And when I'm the bay argument, one kasa can even create your own work here. You don't need to go for employment. So you need to deploy. Now deploying yourself, and I make sure say, so we can number two, I feel what set it goes to say, what breaking in pieces say ni the mayor make me achieve what you will. I feel the next thing is say, as I said, prioritize it or go soon. If I say you prioritize, what I mean is that there's importance. When the here, and you say here, but a bit more here, send a bit. The way I'm decaying, send me your way at the next 24 hours, my brother bit much. Send me to me your way within a week, my brother, and will be decaying. The next thing to do is you take steps, you move. Baby Biala, as I say, information here in order to achieve that goal. Nimdia here. And in order to achieve that goals, I feel a new free wa nipa ben ne betumi aboa ama watumi achieve sa goals no a new free wa ahoden ben skills ben na here in order to achieve that goal ni nyina no so put into consideration na feel utu ho anam you tu ho anam. Oh, you see, this is the kind of 31st night no ye mu bebre make a lot of promises, but along the line somewhere 15th for January end the grand will be a video kind. But as I said, we said, near near can want some about better tables. Could see Sabrina as I saw relax. Yes, sir.
Young men, I be. Meaning, say, yes, see a film with the sound come to tree. A idea, because you here to guide us going forward. And see, yeah, the best see how I'm saying. Now, police are no bidding come on days within the week, it beats me in yana. Constant reminder as to how we should approach our resolutions I am making now you're pursuing in that regard. But I know pay where do I see a two in Safran over kind sir. And yet what Jimedian so you better a few more calls about New Year resolutions we make here or aspirations for the year 2020. And if I was share 2020 walk now I finish quite a simuno. Who is saying? Over to my friend 0302 254 856 and 0302 254 857. Na yedin komo and the pay ewo jumedi so. Whilst more text messages no airban no a few voice notes about producers never ye ho adwuma na nyame pochina no yahwe na yedi ho adwuma we free Albert, okay, there's a caller on the minute. Caller no ending. Come on. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Mini official pa.
I think Kobeto.
But your first in Africa.
Specifically, where you wanna will it? United States of Kisama.
Okay, I will. So far this year, no resolutions been no make.
Oh, Nyamayeno, savings. That Nyamemwa, I mean, not savings have been for me. Every boy in the future, no. me bonfire say nyame beboa na jumadin me you know I'm adding some to it na nyame mo one day so I could work towards it but the same is how we view
bisa me minia
in fact program no fantastic but bisa me won't say English and because English you know too much. We want to know so that
a blend of the two. Why?
Okay. In the blend of
a blend of the two.
Okay. Why? Okay. In fact, I know that Fati any Raymond Nyamador.
Yo.
Say me channel.
Mathematical. Yo, me da CP. Anti ye call and sakana no. Yen say ye okay some voice notes being so bad. Yebetimi abo ade afem wa bra yeguso a yedi enkomo no enti callers ne ba na se voice notes ne so ba ne nyina ye be fa no pepepe na yatoa enkomo die no eso anope but ye twen no na callers no em say your next caller aba ahoma no so hello good morning.
Hello good morning.
Yes apanyina kwaba.
Yeah, but justice make us happy Madina.
Okay, justice Marco.
Yeah, no program no pay mama mani anji papa ba. My problem me motivational speaker no. On say issues like this no say we starting na say anko ewiye at the moment na ya na ye say ye betimi ade ahun ya shase ni na ewiye. Nti normally ne ya mumma embrem kakama speaker no say ne be ya. Tell us betimi a che ne mamu akwa nim kakama yatimi a follow ni ye na yatimi ahun ya resolution na atimi aboa ye pa because a very good program and opa nyame nhyira mo ne dwuma pa mo ye di ba o man Ghana
mini e bedo ase na praise se wonsusu wode abeka yensa emrepem no ye wi a producer ne be di nkomo ne ahwese ne yebetimi arrange a dan nyina mu no oba abeka yensa ne yedidi nkomo bi seye yensa ka voice note bi ma yentie sa voice note yi.
Good morning. This is Alaji Haruna calling from Ashama. Sami, Ashaman inner rules, they are very, very bad. The chief executive should see to fix these rules, especially from night market coming down to Frafra market. That road is very, 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 very bad. I beg you, Chief Executive, try and fix this road. It's spoiling people's cars too much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That a voice note we received this morning. Yanko Homano so na yeni obinsu ending komo. Sorry, once me engineer Homano so ye bebo den yensa kan bium na ya fa na fide. Your last caller for this morning any onipa we. Hello, good morning.
Yebu Santaminia.
Yes sir. Akwaba.
Me do so pa me na na wiska me free dance so mine.
Yo minia mononko.
Na me de se udi program wa ba happy FM. Le mum na wo ka bibi wa nkasa wo ka ko fo ne se bo fo no do so do. E bo fo na mo ya mo je ni chi so na mo ya ya ka ko aka ko. Mamen kana me ma abekuma west. MP ni municipal nyame mo mo ba so. Na asemba ku ti wa hia dance mo efo. Wo hwe laptop. E de ko sia bu ko beach road a. O ma ba bu amanfo da go ho mo ye gata bi ho. The straight MP na ba no. So the boot I have a go my Ghana and also a my Western. Omo this I don't know who you are. Omo this I got an over for no way. This is why yet now man for the who yana man for the young. That's a better of my Ghana MPP. Omo the other I got about a fear.
Miniam Dasi piano pay so ba ahomane so. Aha any de Jumedi ni bisi Raymond and Fati near round it up and pay. Mr. J ye bedin komo off air na ya arrangements in senior obey a blessing to your listeners no moving forward. Inti aha and mini meeting no ye wrap up comment